Hey guys, before we get into this episode, I want to let you know about our How to Charge a Client guide, our 54-page digital download book that will teach you how to secure more money from your clients. From working with local businesses to some of the biggest celebrities and brands in the world, I will teach you everything I've learned about charging my clients over the past 10 plus years of my career as a freelance creator. In this guide, I walk through the process of charging clients step by step, explaining exactly how I analyze, negotiate, and land higher paying job opportunities. If you're interested in making more money as a creator, head over to shopbwnc.com and get the guide now. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast, new episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World, and today's special guest is Jeremiah Davis, but most of y'all know him as ThatOneBlondKid. Jeremiah is an ill director and videographer who tours regularly with the Chainsmokers and has worked with brands such as Adidas, Snapchat, Movement, DJI, and many, many others. Jeremiah's story is insane. Some of the things that you're going to hear about in this episode are his early hustle in high school, creating a photography business with his brother before getting a job at an ad agency, where he learned how to successfully cold email Fortune 500 companies using a pretty interesting tactic. The decision he made after high school to take a year off to travel and make adventure videos to find his editing style, how he took what he calls the art of reaching out to Instagram DMs, where he offered to shoot drone footage for Rory Kramer, who eventually landed him a job as a drone operator for the Chainsmokers music video Closer, which has 2.4 billion views on YouTube. That's insane. Shout out to Instagram DMs. He gives us behind the scenes looks at the Snapchat series he directed called Without Limits, how he landed his first Chainsmokers tour after turning around 2 videos in 3 days, and the recent campaign he directed for Movement featuring professional skateboarder Nyjah Huston. I'm pumped for you to hear it. This episode is jam-packed with some sick insight. You'll learn the best way to reach out to clients, the value of turning around content quickly, and the power of collaboration. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering,
what the fuck is Black with No Cream?
Great question. Black with No Cream is the illest educational resource for content creators fueled by caffeine. Or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We have thousands of members from all around the world working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our private group if you want to by going to bwnc.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. All right, that's it. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every single Wednesday and Sunday for a new Black with No Cream podcast episode. And if you enjoyed this podcast, leave us a review on iTunes because every review helps our podcast grow and reach new creators. Follow us on Instagram at Black with No Cream. Subscribe to us on YouTube to access all of our educational content, and share this episode out with someone who needs it if you find it helpful. And without further ado, I bring to you my episode with ThatOneBlondKid and the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World. Wow.
Oh my gosh. What just happened?
I don't know. I've just been doing it for years and years and years. Today's special guest, he is well known for just kind of crushing the internet left and right. Jeremiah Davis.
Isn't that crazy that's a thing? You're like, yo, I crushed the internet and people want to talk to me now.
I'm asking you, is it?
Yeah, it is. I was driving the other day and I was like, I get it. Or no, I was like skydiving. I was doing something fun and I was like, the only reason why I'm here is because I'm good at like working on a computer.
Right.
Which is so crazy. But then I was thinking about like artists, like big artists. Yeah. And I was like, that's the same thing too. Like they get to go on yachts because they're good at singing, or like, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Which is through computers.
We don't have to get too deep too fast.
No, it is true. I mean, you've developed an entire career via the internet and being able to build off of sharing your content and creating content to give back to the world, I guess.
Yeah. Felt like half the audience just clicked out. They're like, all right, here's another podcast about a kid who just.
No, but I think it's you've done a really good job with it, and I think I've been following you for a while, and the shit is just you always are pushing it. And I think your ability to collaborate with other creators is like a super key move that you've always implemented into your shit. You know what I mean?
100%. Yep. I think that was like the first thing I noticed was like people don't like collaborating with people, and I really like went into like the psychological aspect of that, and I was like, why? And I was like, people just don't. They want credit for themselves. Yeah. And I'm like, what's more beneficial? And I like played it out, and it's like the classic like, do things for other people with no return expected, and like it's obviously gonna pay back. And even if it doesn't pay back, it's like then that's not your crew,
right? No, that's super
and you move
true.
on. And I was like, okay, great, let's just act on that, you know.
And I think another problem is like people always kind of look at it like a financial benefit too. It's like, well, if I do this and I don't bring this person in, then I make more money doing this, and they always look at it that way. But it's like, yeah, but I think if you bring in like the last video you just posted with Nigel, it's like, you brought in Johnny FPV. And just that dynamic right there with you two is insane, right?
Totally. No, I just went back to that post, and I was like looking, I was like, man, we brought in a lot of people, and I was like, it's impossible to lose or make something bad when you bring in really, really good people.
Right.
And like when it's a high stake campaign like the one we're working on with Movement, it's like, okay, I don't want to lose on this. I can gamble a little bit and do it all myself, or I could bring in really talented people to do their thing, and it's gonna just work.
Totally.
I come from an ad agency background though, so that's like why I understand that concept of like collaboration and like freelancers and contracting people, because I worked for an ad agency called Conscious Minds, who like had Nike on retainer, and they do like Super Bowl commercials.
Wow.
And there's like 9 full-time staff. And at like given campaigns, they would have like 15 freelancers in, and then the 9 staff were like overseeing those people that were like really, really like badass at what they do.
Right.
And so I was like, that's really powerful and scalable. And if you take that to a social space, people don't do it because they're like trying to boost themselves.
Yeah.
Where if I just see it as like, if you could bring an ad agency way of like executing projects, but on a social platform, you just look way more like badass, and you're like, dang, like you had the infrastructure to pay these people and the relationships to bring them in on. And,
right. No, it's super true.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's also, I mean, the benefit is everyone's kind of growing socially, right? Like you guys all benefit in the fact of now you have followers, this person may have followers, whatever, and everyone always looks at that shit. But by collaborating, you're now sharing your art with this other person who now shares it on their channel because you're all proud of your work. Yeah. That's creating this like funnel of, and that's how people learn about you. You know what I mean? Like they look now for you to then tell me about the new Ronin or whatever, and you're going to tell me about it, but I believe in it because I've seen all your work, because I found you through this person who did this person, and you did that job. So it's like that all plays a huge role in it too, which builds your, I guess, like, I don't know, just like name on in the community. You know what I mean? Like that builds up. So damn, that's interesting. I didn't know you did an agency.
I think the agent, that's basically what it all comes back to, is like the whole agency thing. Like
when did you work there?
In college. My sophomore and junior year, and then the summer in between, I was like full time, or I was like I was like part time for the first year, full time during the summer, and then like a little bit more than part time during my junior year. And then they were like, we need someone to do what you just built full time. And I was doing all like admin, developing, like I was basically reaching, like cold emailing people and being like Fortune 500 companies, but I would like hack the system and find their email, and like I would have a fake email address.
Yeah.
Like I would get your name, and I would just try like the format of like first name, last name at like blackwithnocream.com. And then it would be like, oh, that bounced back. Like, let me go last name, first name, boom.
Awesome.
Let me go first initial, last name. I just like did that. It was so tedious. But then when you got one, it was like the biggest win, and you're like, yo, I'm on like my biggest like claim to fame in the agency was like, and I don't even think anything came from it, but I got Stan socks. Yeah. Like their like 4th or 5th year being in business.
I'm wearing their underwear right now.
Are you?
It's fire.
I've never tried their underwear. Their socks are amazing.
Pretty dope.
They're also like $50.
Yeah, I know. I got it for free at a party. So
let's go. What party are you getting free underwear at?
It was like an NBA event, bro. They
okay, there you go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So the day they signed their deal with the NBA,
boom. This is funny.
The press release on it didn't come out till like 72 hours later. So they signed like a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal with NBA, and they were the first. I saw a tweet, and it was like some reporter that was tweeting it before anything, and it was like Stan Sock signs multi-million-dollar, multi-year deal with NBA, being like the one of 3 logos allowed on the court. So there's like
Shit.
the NBA logo, there's a Spalding logo, or there's the team logos, and
Yeah.
then there's like Stance
Stance.
socks. And I'm like, dang, they like, you just broke the system. Like Nike's not on it.
Right.
Like, Nike's not on the court.
Yeah.
And then that next year they sold more socks than Nike. And so I emailed like the 2 people in marketing, and there's like this like system where you don't go to like the director of marketing, you go like 2 people down. And I got our CEO a meeting, and my CEO was like, you're gonna come into any meeting you book me. So I got to go to all these like big meetings, went down to their office.
Damn.
We showed them like a commercial that we had done for like a basketball thing that was like like a basketball shoe that was very relatable to a sock on the court. And we're like, we could just do this for Stan socks. And it like, you know, like a lot of conversations went. I think there was a conflict because they had a retainer with Nike.
Right.
And so there was like a bit of a conflict there. But here I am like a kid in college, like talking about multi-million-dollar deals with the most poppin' like sock company going out. And
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And so when you bring that into like a social media space, it's like, oh, this is like, I don't have to look for your email anymore. It's called DM. And I got on that real early, like
Right.
before there was any filters. You didn't get a preview on it. You either clicked it or you didn't. I got
Yeah.
notified, you read it. You could email anyone. I was talking to like the biggest guys, and they were all like, the response rate was like 80%. Even if it was
Jesus.
negative, it was like they were still responding.
Right. But who are you? Who are the guys that you're talking about? Like, who would you try to reach out to?
I would just go down the rabbit hole. Like even if I didn't know him, I was like, it was like Chris Burkard, who's like an amazing photographer. You know Chris Burkard?
I know the name.
He was like Surfer Mag's like #1 photographer, or like lead director photographer, and then he left and did his own independent thing. But like hit him up and like got on DM, and so now I still have these open threads. So
Yeah.
if I ever want to reach out to him now that I actually have a portfolio,
Bloop.
it's
Like-
it goes in their actual right box. But I remember being like, Kanye doesn't have or he didn't have I didn't follow him, but he didn't have it. I was like, if Kanye had an Instagram right now, I'd DM him, and I'd probably be one of 150 people,
Right.
Because nobody's DMing right now,
Right.
It was
Damn,
like,
that's funny.
It was like right when Facebook bought Instagram, and
Yeah.
that was the first feature they rolled out, and everyone was like, "Oh, here we go! Facebook's ruining Instagram, and like, why do I need a messenger when I can just message people on Facebook?"
Right.
But the gap was that it's like Facebook are your friends, Instagram's like people you really like and admire or inspire to be.
Damn,
But,
you took
know,
full advantage of that.
bro. Every night, minimum 3 DMs was my goal.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I met Rory.
Right,
The whole career thing took off.
So then when you were at the agency,
Yeah.
as you're building that out, you're starting to get these meetings to take off. That's when did they start taking your role more serious, and they were like, we need you to do this full time, like you're doing this really well, and like figuring out how to, get us into rooms.
Yeah, no, actually, I started doing like they wanted to do a retouching studio. They had like some of the best like we'd go shoot a campaign for Nike, and then they'd be like, oh, actually, like we want this shot to be with like this new shoe that came out, but the shoe's not made, and here's the 3D rendering of it. We need you to make it look real. Put
Right.
it on this runner, and then you have to change the color to teal, and here's like the Kodak for the RGB color, and like
Fix it in post.
do it. And this guy was just like a ninja, and they're like, you know what, this guy, like we have the infrastructure to retouch on the highest caliber of commercial work.
Right.
Why don't we start a retouching studio? And they called it Dark Room at the time. And so I was like the main guy to get people in the door for Dark Room retouching, and we would just go to like big professional, like traditional photographers and be like, do you have any photo shoots that you've done that you need like the background replaced or whatever, all this composition work or whatever. And it was like taken off and everything, and then they were like, okay, we need someone full time to be like managing these relationships, getting stuff in the door, and like. But they're like, you have 1 more year of school. We're not trying to tell you to go away from school. How about you go? We'll hire someone full time, and then when you graduate, come back and you have a full time position. And then I always knew that like agency work was like, it was fun, but it wasn't as fulfilling because so many people have their hands in their project.
Yeah.
And like they and you're just like it's like crazy hours. You have to show up to office. You have to work late.
You're constantly on call.
And then you're seeing like freelancers pop in and like shoot, and then they're making like I started catching wind of their paychecks. And I'm like, this guy got paid $8,000 to go to like
a 2-hour event,
a Nike marathon, and like go shoot this in like France, and then from there went on like this crazy adventure vacation thing, and then like probably tossed it to an assistant editor, and now this guy in house is like retouching. I'm like,
right.
What?
Right.
Like, this doesn't make sense. And I was like, at the time, I was like, I can never do that. It's sick. I really want to do that. And I was creating, but I had always respected like high-end production stuff. And I wasn't like this blind, like this optimistic kid of like, oh, like I can do that. Give me the shot. I just need the shot. I'm like,
Yeah,
you give me a shot to do a Nike commercial, it's gonna flop.
Yeah, it's gonna
like
be trash. I don't know yet. I need to figure it out still.
I just knew, like, I wasn't trying to like waste anyone's time, and so I was like, yo, that like to get where he is, it's gonna take a really, really long time. And I remember my mom just being like, "Nah, you can do it. You can do it."
But
and
you weren't creating at this time. You were like,
I was.
So
I was
you already
doing,
starting to shoot stuff.
I did my first like paid project at 16 for photography.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Damn. Where are you from?
Claremont, which is like an hour and a half away from here.
Oh,
2 hours
sick.
away.
So you're pretty close. That's
yeah, born
dope.
and raised in Southern California.
Yeah, right. So at 16.
Yeah.
When did you start?
I love the business money side of it. So like my brother was 2 years older than me. He was like way good at video, but he didn't know how to charge for his craft. So like I started doing his deals for him, and then he made. I would just respond to his email.
Yeah.
But we come from like an entrepreneurial family. Like my dad owns his own business. I have 3 older brothers.
Right.
And even our older brothers, I was the youngest, and everybody had like their own little like craft and hustle, and our parents were just like not rolling in the dough by any means, and they're like, if you want to do stuff this summer, go make your money.
Right.
And like you'd be like, okay, well, how am I gonna do this or whatever. So my brother made like a couple grand making videos in a summer. And I was like, how do I get a part of this? And so I chose photography because I was like, it goes hand in hand.
Right.
And then,
because people were people looking for photographers when they'd hire him.
Yeah, they hired him. Like, oh, and we would just upsell. Like,
Right.
yeah, you want to pack it like a photo thing or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. When did you start shooting photography though? Prior to that?
16.
That was it. Like,
yeah.
damn. So you
Like-
just saw the business opportunity and became a photographer because.
Yeah, exactly.
So clutch.
I literally walked up to a kid in my high school. He's the best photographer. And I went up and I was like, I want you to. I literally went up and was like, yo, your name's Keenan, right? And I was like, I want to get in photography. You always have your camera. You take the dopest shots at the school. It's like 3,000 kids at the school. And I was like, what do I have to? I was like, whatever camera you say to buy, I'm going to go buy it. Like, whatever you say, I'll do it. And he was like, okay, great. Like, what's your budget? What's this? And we found a good like camera to get. I got a 20D, Canon 20D, and which was off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
And also, I had like 16-year-old. I knew how to like run circles around everyone on Craigslist.
Just been hustling.
And then I got the camera. We were like the assistants for the photography class, just because like you didn't, or the TAs or whatever, and you didn't have to do anything. Like
Right.
you had to like get the students their photo paper, and so they can go develop it. And then once that happened, you were like done.
Chilling.
You're chilling.
Yeah.
So then we would go out and shoot around the campus, and so like every day I got basically like a 45 minute lesson, and then he was like, you have to post, like take a photo and post a photo you're proud of every day on Facebook. I think it's still there.
Wow.
And it's like the album's like life behind the lens. It was like the most cliche thing ever. And it's awful photos, but it's like, it made you take the like, I'm going to shoot something every day. I'm going to edit something every day. I'm going to post it publicly every day. And it like that drive me to progress.
And at the time you were seeing him share photos on like all the photos of like at the school that was being shared on Facebook and stuff. That's where you were seeing his work, or was it like the school newspaper or something?
Facebook.
So it's like driving you to be like him and share, like he did that, which inspired you to get into
totally.
it.
And this is before like Instagram ended up coming out, but it wasn't like
Right.
like Facebook was the platform to be uploading these album kind of things.
Totally.
Yeah. So, and then DSLR just kind of switched over.
Right.
It gave me a good foundation for like head knowledge on cameras. And then I had already been like creative directing my brother with the videos that he was doing, because I was like the cool kid that played sports or whatever, and like I knew trends that were going around with like the popular kids.
Right.
And my brother was just like head deep in like the editing bay. And,
Yeah,
like,
full
like,
nerd.
Did not care about like
Right.
friends or like socializing, because like he wasn't like a nerd. Like he had friends and he had a blast, but it was like he didn't prioritize that. And so I'd see his videos like, this is so sick, you need to change the song, this is offbeat. And I just always remember being like, that's like 2 frames offbeat. And,
Right.
and then it would be I could eyeball it.
Yeah.
And so when I then got camera knowledge, I just needed to learn how to actually physically do what I wanted an editor to do. I had to learn editing software.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can look at something and be like, that's 2 frames offbeat. Boom, I know how to do it. Bam, bam, and it's
Right.
done. And like, so now my process is just so expedited.
Right. Yeah, because it's been a nace since the jump. So
Yeah.
was it strictly photography, or were you starting to dabble more in the video with him? Like, did you start editing with him and start shooting video as well? Or
I was just over his shoulder. I was like a creative director
all the time.
Over his shoulder on the edits, but I was never hands on.
Right.
I was like, what if it did this, and this, or like even with VFX, I was like, what if this guy flew off the building and this, and he was like, it pushed him to go like find the tutorials to do it.
Is he still making videos right now?
Yeah. So he does like he does more like traditional agency, but he's even like on the brand and strategy side, and then every now and then he like has to create content for it, but it's not like very content forward where like I get hired to make content.
Right. Yeah.
And I build strategy and like creative building in there too, but at the end of the day, like people are hiring me because they want a video from me.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say you were 16 and started shooting, what was one of the first jobs that you did photography wise that you got hired?
Photography, family photos.
Family photos? Was it?
It was, yeah.
Well, how did you get the business? You were just posting on Craigslist and stuff? And
no, it was like somebody from our high school, and we were like, yeah, we do family photos. So we started like a little alliance with this guy that taught me.
Yeah.
We called it White Citrus. It was hilarious.
What?
Which is like, what the hell is White Citrus?
What is it?
It literally was a cool name that we saw on a shampoo bottle. I found out my grandmother uses it actually.
Still?
It wasn't my idea, but I was like, that's cool. Let's run with it.
White Citrus.
White
just
Citrus.
in the shower, just.
Yeah,
what's your business
so
name?
on brand.
Yeah.
So the guy that taught me photography had a brother.
Right.
So he was my brother's age, and he had a younger brother that was my age, and the younger brother did video, probably just as good as my brother, or just about as good.
Right.
So it was like two sets of brothers, one younger, one older, and it was like the older brother on their side did photography, I did photography. My older brother did video, his younger brother did video, and we just created an alliance for like bigger projects. And that was my idea. I was like, I watched The Social Network.
Yeah.
About Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
I just remember being like livid afterwards. I was like, this guy had an idea. I sound so dumb, but I'm like, this guy had an idea, and he just like suddenly became like a millionaire.
Right.
I'm like so mad. Like, why can't I have that idea? Like, what makes me different? Like, why? Like, I understand I can't code and do whatever, but like the idea of a website where people got together and whatever, like the idea of Facebook in itself. Like, why didn't that come to me? Like, also, I'm like 15 at the time, 16 at the time. I'm like, why didn't that come to me? And I got super mad. I was like, how am I going to make money? And then I was like, how am I going to like do it differently than any other kid my age? And so I like got all these, I like introduced myself to these kids. Like, you're the best at the school. My brother's the best at the school. I want to be the best. You're going to teach me. You guys are going to make money. I'll get deals on the table. And we just like, they were like, all right, cool. And I was like the hype man around it all.
So then was White Citrus your business, or was it just like you guys would share jobs with each other?
No, it was like it was like a legit. Yeah, I mean, everybody had their own side thing, but it was like if a big project came along, it was like, okay, we need like say a wedding, like you need 2 people to shoot, whatever. And so like we even did like a few weddings where it was like, okay, great, you 2 are gonna shoot photo, we'll shoot video, and like.
Damn.
And then you guys will collaborate on the video and share the work. We'll share the work, and we'll just knock it out faster than anything.
So did this technically become like everyone tends to get like jobs between like 14 and 16. I don't know. Is this like one of your first jobs?
No, I was a baseball umpire at 13.
An ump?
Yeah.
Tight.
Do you play baseball? You
I play baseball.
Dang, that just hit me right now. Yeah. So I went to college for baseball.
Oh, I didn't get that far. I made it to like high school and called it a day.
9 years old, like full-grown men drilling into your head that like you're here for a college scholarship. Like that's what you're working towards.
Who's saying this? Your coaches?
Yeah, like it was like dead serious. I played baseball year round every day basically. Damn. From 8 years old until I was 20.
Dog, that's not fair.
20.
I'm from Iowa, bro. We have snow.
Oh yeah,
comes.
No shot.
You know what I mean? So
we crush teams like you.
Damn, that's crazy.
And it was just because we played year round.
Yeah, that's not fair.
You know, and when it was raining, like we just went to Arizona and drove out for tournaments. But like Bryce Harper's on the Washington Nationals, and like played with Bryce. Like I played against Bryce like in tournaments and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
So
competition was
which is really crazy. But
what position you play?
I was like second base and out like I was like utility player, but like I was like the one person in my club that like actually played. I caught 1 out, which qualified me as a person in my like academy to play every position. Right. Which I was the first person. This academy's been going for like 30 years.
What the fuck?
And like the catcher got hurt, and we were in like this massive game, and the guy was like, yo, you play every spot, like throw on the gear. Went and caught like 3 pitches.
And then put you on the board.
It was super funny.
Damn.
I don't even know how baseball came up, but
First job, you were an ump.
First job was an ump. Little League was going, and like you made $35 for an hour and a half game.
Right.
If you were like a base umpire, if you're behind the plate, it's like $45, and you could do 3 games on a weekend. So you're making like $80 to $100.
Yeah, that's dope.
As a 13-year-old on a day.
Right.
You're doing and I played at the Little League. So I was the youngest employee, and the reason why we did it, me and my friend did it because we wanted to go to the Boston Red Sox game. We wanted to fly to Boston. We wanted to go to a Red Sox game because we were Red Sox fans.
There's always a plan with everything that you do. It's not just
Our parents said, yeah, but you have to like raise the money for it.
Right.
And then we're like, dope, we need to get jobs. We went and became umpires. We raised the money, and my friend's parents said no.
That they couldn't go?
Yeah, he was like, nah, like you can't go. And we're like, are you kidding me? We just worked so long to like basically save up like $1,000 as a 13-year-old.
Right.
And then
they canned it.
And then I just remember not even arguing because I was like, oh, I got $1,000 in my pocket. Let's go. I didn't even care.
It's like, fuck the game.
I didn't care. But my first job was 13. I was an umpire.
Damn. So then when you started doing your photography stuff and building this business, that became kind of your main move throughout high school then, or what?
Yeah. We just got like odd projects, and then college, the same thing, and small businesses. And I did like a fundraiser. It's called Be Perfect, or they raise money to support people with like spinal cord injuries. One guy at our high school ended up getting paralyzed from the waist down, and started this foundation. And he started it, or you started it? He started it, and then they run a fundraiser every year and a half, and they raise like over $1 million in one night. And then they basically use that to support other people who like have these accidents, don't plan for it, and then suddenly you have like
insane bills.
Yeah, $500,000 bill or whatever. Damn. Or like the physical therapy in it is so expensive, and it's also so niche that like, so he built a facility that like has these unique like trainers and equipment to do it. So I was doing the videos for his events, because at the time it was like live performances and speeches and stuff like that, and there was no like media element to it. And I was like, what if we did a montage of like all these like paraplegic or like different people? I'm also just so bad with the verbiage. I'm probably like offending people with like all I was stoked on it. It's a good cause. I put in so much hours, and like I was like, yo, there's guys that like off-road, and they have like their off-road vehicles
insane
situated to where like the gas pedals with their hand, they can control the whole car with their hands, but they're like paralyzed from the waist down, and they're just like mobbing. Or like one guy swims like far and like has done like an Ironman, and you're like, how? Like you're in a wheelchair, and like how do you do the swimming part? Like how do you do the biking? He does a hand bike. And
so would you make like micro docs about stories like that?
So it was like, imagine like a lifestyle montage of like, you basically like an inspiring one that's like, you can do anything type of thing. Like here's somebody like skydiving, here's somebody's doing this and this and this.
That's cool.
Yeah, totally. And then that inspires like other people that are at this like foundation of like, and all these people have trained at that facility. That's what was cool about it. It was like all these people were getting better and being healthy at this like training facility.
Damn.
Yeah, totally. And to like help raise money and stuff like that. So
do you know Ken Block?
Yeah.
We did one. My homie was in Afghanistan, lost all 4 of his limbs over to an IED, and bounced back hard and prosthetics and all this stuff. But they modified a car for him, like a van, and it was kind of like that. But he was like wanted to drive a regular car, and we like duct taped his. We got like a lawnmower. I don't know if you have lawnmowers out here in California, but we have a lawnmower, and there's to turn a lawnmower wheel, there's like a knob, right?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking
so
about.
We took the
That's
knob.
What they have on this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we hooked it up there, and we like taped his hand to it, and then we like taped his foot to the clutch, and like we would like shove it and do all the shit. And we were like drifting in the snow, made a whole video and challenged Ken Block, and then he eventually like saw the video and like brought us all out to ride with him and shit.
So sick.
It was so cool. But it's like,
that's amazing.
The way that they're able to adapt to the change in their life when certain things like that happen, and then programs that are set up like that, it's so impressive. Like it's so needed too. So
totally.
So with the videos that you would make, would they share it to like get people amped that were there, or would you use that to like market the event?
It's mainly for the event. It was a little bit of both. Like it would like play afterwards, and then they would always like recirculate it to like push the next year.
Right. But it's primarily for
the
event.
Became a thing of like, after the first one hit, it was like the second thing was like, we're coming for the video. Like we're coming for a lot of things, and like, but we're coming to like watch these like super inspirational stories and videos play out.
That's dope.
Yeah, which was cool.
How long have you done that? Was that early?
I did that like in like my like my first, like right when I started college. And
Right.
I did that through college, and then I kind of like transitioned and handed it off to somebody else that
Right.
like helped out a ton.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Crazy. What about you? I feel like podcasts, people always just talk about themselves.
No, but this was always like your story and shit. Joe
Totally.
Rogan's is like, let's just talk about fucking whatever.
Let's talk about whatever. Yeah, that's true.
Speaking about Joe Rogan, I was just listening to this alien one that he was talking about, where this
Okay.
UFO dude, like a pilot was driving, caught a UFO. My intern over here, Adam, he doesn't. I told him I was gonna tell you this. I was like, I've just been telling everyone. His homie said he got abducted by an alien and doesn't like to talk about it.
Who's homie? Joe Rogan's?
No,
or?
Adam's homie back there. Joe
Damn.
Rogan was my segue to come up with him telling me that his homie had gotten abducted and it was strange. So I just wanted to talk to you about it. How do you feel about aliens, bro?
Does your homie do drugs?
That's what I said. he's like, no, he doesn't do drugs. I'm just saying, it sounds like
Yeah, but there's no proof.
that's what I mean. That's what I feel like. That's gonna be a hard topic.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a very hard topic.
We won't do a
Aliens?
Joe Rogan,
Aliens?
a Joe Rogan thing.
I don't know.
No, but this is.
I like
this
the
is your story.
idea, the idea, like of everyone, like us having to like restructure and figure out like how we're gonna live with another like thing.
Yeah, it'd be wild.
It would be wild. Like that sounds, but that's just entertainment. Like that's
Yeah.
just people craving entertainment.
Well, that's probably the problem. Is like if we wouldn't glorify it forever, like then it might not be something that people. But what I thought was cool that Joe was talking about, he like interviewed a pilot, a Navy pilot that caught. You know, it was like on the internet a while back. It got like caught on camera. And he was like tracking it, and like they released the footage from the government or some shit. I don't know. So he's talking to that
Sorry,
guy.
I'm not scouring.
I know,
YouTube for
but I remember it popping up on CNN, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is this? An alien? Dope!" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just started listening to it. Anyway, random ass sidebar. I know Dave's probably like, "Don't talk about this shit. Let's
like, don't do
talk
that.
about you."
Don't do that.
No, I just want this is your story.
Do your follower does your audience know and fully understand like your full background and where you come from? Like, have you ever done a piece on you and
Yeah.
like, what you've done?
I did after.
Where is that?
It's on here somewhere on
Okay.
our.
But
podcast.
it's you talking about your story.
Yeah, I had my homie Andrew. So my homie Andrew put me on when I moved out here, and he directed Chris Brown's documentary. So he brought me in
Sick.
to do that. Which I thought when I was looking up something, I saw you did the same thing for Rory. Like reached out and did the drone video for the Chainsmokers video.
Yeah.
Which is dumb views,
Absurd.
insane
yeah.
views. I know Jordan's a homie.
That's
I
your
was like-
come up though, is like you got brought out to help direct something?
I got brought out and co-edited the film with him.
Sick.
But I came out just to do shit, just
Yeah.
to try or whatever. And
But how
then-
did you build off that?
So I started editing there, and then I'm starting to meet people while I'm editing Chris's film. Then
Got
I
it.
started editing his music videos that we were doing in between time, and then
Yeah.
that kind of picked up steam. And then like Schoolboy Q, I went on tour with him,
Yeah,
which
sick.
is like my first real tour.
That's tight. And
And
what,
then-
just from a relationship? I'm like, yo, come out.
South by Southwest. I was at South by Southwest randomly and shot someone that was affiliated with one of the.
Yeah, that's how it
you know what I mean.
happens. Yeah.
And then they brought me out.
I always love people that are like, where you live or where you are or your proximity doesn't matter. Like if you crush it, there's so much stuff online that people will find you.
Crazy.
Which is true because it's like, but that's true for like 2% of people. That's
Yeah.
that's like the real innovators. But for like the other 98%, like you got to show up to South by Southwest and you got to go.
Yeah,
And
if I didn't,
you got to be in LA. You got to
Right.
like help film podcasts. You have to like, you just got to be doing something and helping out in any way.
That's one of the most important pieces.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, you have to go to where it is. And me being in Iowa,
It's
I
so
was like,
mad when people tell me that.
Doug, it's Iowa. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
Who? There's some great filmmakers, like indie filmmakers and shit that live in Iowa, and Slipknot. That's like
Totally, yeah.
what it is. But other than that, I'm like, I gotta go. Like that's where shit's happening. That's what I need to be in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide that you needed to come out here? Was it after college? You were
I had never, because I was so close to LA, but never like in it. I've
Yeah.
never like actually experienced LA.
That's what's fucking crazy when I interview people that are from Southern California and they're like, yeah, I was always like 30 minutes away, but I just never went to Hollywood. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, never. Like never went to, like even in college, never like went out to like a proper like West Hollywood club. Like that just wasn't a part of my scene.
Right.
And like I grew up on the outskirts where it's like an hour away from everything, like hour from snowboarding, hour away from the beach.
Yeah.
I always either like snowboarding or at the beach.
Right.
And then there's like an hour to the desert, and then you're an hour from like downtown, but like that was always like, oh, you just knew there was traffic and you're going there, and like what's in downtown Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have friends out there. Like who am I gonna meet up with? Why would I go? If you're underage, like you're not going to like cool, like you don't really care about going to nice restaurants, or like you don't even get entertainment from that. So it's like, I'm gonna go to the beach.
Right.
And like, so that's kind of like, I never experienced it. And then it wasn't honestly till my senior year of college where I was like, there's this social boom happening online, and there's guys that are freelancers that are like working in these ad agency things. and like the one I was working at. But
Right.
then they're also like they have 100,000 followers on Instagram at the time. And it was just like, this is insane. And they were now starting to get like paid for brand deals, like post about it super early on. And I was like, dang, what if I just tried for like a year to like make the coolest stuff I've ever just whatever I thought was cool, which seems to be working around the people that I'm around.
Right.
Like, what if I just make that and like put whatever soundtrack I want to it and whatever, and I just make no money. It's not money focused. So my senior year, I like moved back on campus out of, like from my house, because I knew I was just gonna like charge every weekend, like out to adventures, but I still wanted to see people. And if I was on like an off-campus house, I wouldn't see anybody.
You were previously living off campus?
Yeah, so I moved back on campus my senior year, and just to be like, so like school would just be like a walk away. I didn't have to drive anywhere. And then on weekends, I just like sent it. Like,
Right.
Big Sur, Grand Canyon, like Horseshoe Bend, like all these different like iconic photo locations. And I basically was shooting like what we know as like the travel adventure video.
Right. But I feel like you're early, like, because this is funny that you're noticing this at the agency. This is also during like, I would imagine like the Vine era of like,
yeah.
Because I
This is
feel
like a
like
little
Vine-
bit before Vine.
because didn't Vine, like, I feel like to me, brand deals, that word,
Yeah.
like in the influencer world, I
Yeah.
guess, took off when Vine started getting so insane. All of a sudden, like,
Yeah,
people are getting
totally.
paid $100,000 to make a 6-second video.
But I caught wind of it at this agency before it was like
'Cause you
public
could see it,
knowledge.
like, happening.
People didn't even know this was happening until like a year or 2 years ago.
Right.
Like our parents didn't know you could actually make money. Like it took that long.
Right.
But like the 2 years prior, like everyone's sleeping. Like I was out, but I was getting like ripped on in college my senior year. People were like, "What are you hosting like Insta meets?" Because Insta meets were happening.
You were hosting them?
I wasn't hosting them, but like they were happening, and it was all like the really, really like true hipster guys that were like doing the Jumpstagrams and everything.
Right.
And I wasn't like that dedicated, but I was like going out, and I was like, "Hey, anybody who wants to go camping in Big Sur for the weekend and you have to have a camera and you got to be ready to shoot." People were like, "Oh, like why are you taking this so seriously? And why are you posting all the time?" And,
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, they just like went to a frat that weekend and
Totally,
just
yeah, it
hate
was-
their life Sunday. And
it was like, I don't know, it was weird, and I just did it because I loved making the videos, and I loved like not having a client tell me what to do, and so I went and did that, and then I forgot even how we got on this topic. I always blank on some of my stories, but basically,
segue to it.
yeah. But basically, like senior year, I like really got into my style, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Oh, how did I move to LA? I got in my style, and then Yes Theory. Most people don't actually know this.
yeah,
Most
Yes
people-
Theory's channel's great, but I don't know this fun fact you're about to
Yeah,
tell me.
totally. The same week I met Rory, I met a guy named Dave Lingwood who was on the Buried Life MTV show.
Yeah.
4 Dudes, 100 Things to Do Before You Die.
God, I forgot about that show.
Flexed Rory, and I was like, yo, I just hung out with Rory. This is what I shot for him, like on a hike. I can do the same for you. End up meeting up with this guy who like I grew up watching on MTV, and he's like, yeah, let's go surfing in Malibu. Skip class, meet him, and then I go to Malibu, and then from there,
Which is like a 3-hour drive for you.
Totally,
So you
yeah.
had to just haul up to
absurd, yeah.
Right, damn.
I met Rory in Malibu too, and I left. We did sunrise, so I left at like 3 a.m.
Shit.
And then I fast forward a couple months, and then this guy Dave Lingwood from the Buried Life hits me up and says, "Hey, there's this group called Generation Why Not," which is what Yes Theory was called before they were Yes Theory.
Oh, dope.
And it was like Generation Why Not. They're like starting to pop off. They need an editor. They just signed a deal with Snapchat where they're gonna release like daily content on Snapchat Discover. And they have like an editing budget for $4,000 a month to edit for like full time for them. And also shoot. Skyped them, worked out. I flew up to Canada with them, and then we road tripped down in a Tesla Model S right after it launched, all the way down to Venice, where they moved in to like do the Snapchat thing by the
Like
Venice
they drove
office.
the car down to move into that house.
Yeah, and I
Damn.
shot content with them and everything. And that's how I got to like know them, was on this road trip. And then worked with them for like 2 months, and then I was like, Venice is popping.
Yeah.
Venice is where it's at.
Right.
And I was like, I need to be here. And
were you editing from campus, or were you editing on site?
So what's funny is I did this road trip, and then they were gonna go to Tokyo for their first big like content thing, and they were gonna like do like 15 days in Tokyo, and do 15 videos in 15 days in 15 different spots in Tokyo, or something like that. And I would have had to skip my college graduation. And at the time, it's like new contract, $4,000, like Tokyo, like with these dope people with Snapchat. Like, I should skip my college graduation. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish this, do it right, graduate, and then go. And they were like totally chill with it.
Oh, that's good.
And then, which was great that it didn't ruin the deal. They came back, and then we did the Canada thing.
Oh shit. Okay. So that worked out.
So it worked out really well. And then so I was graduated.
Right.
It was like literally like a week later after graduation, I was into full-time editing work. And I was driving from Claremont to Venice, which was like over 2 hours. And it was like
every day.
It was so dark, bro. Like I was like, I need to get an apartment. I have like money coming in to do it. And I would get home at like 11:30 at night. There also were just like, I was like editing to like 7.
Right.
I was like, I'll just edit late. And then I ended up like showing up a little bit later to like skip a bit of traffic. So it saved me like a half an hour. But then I had to stay late. And then we were doing like a video a day, like a 7-minute video a day
from Snapchat,
from footage that I had never shot or seen or anything. So like,
you guys scrubbed through
Amar would be like, this is the structure of the thing, go through the footage and find it all and do this thing. So it was crazy. We're doing like a 7-minute video a day.
That would go to the YouTube channel, or that was the Snapchat thing?
Snapchat. So it was when original content was coming out on Snapchat. So it was like an original Snapchat series, and every day you were supposed to be able to like see a new adventure from Generation Why Not.
And everyone was watching 7-minute videos like that?
Yeah, obviously they've learned.
Yeah.
And we were the first vertical original series.
Wow.
Like nobody was doing it. So like everyone's thinking about like, how do I shoot vertical? Like I'm sure you've thought about like, how am I doing this vertically?
Right.
And now you just like crop in. There's like higher end cameras to do it.
Yeah.
But like even 3 years ago, like 4K footage on a DSLR, like there was very few things to do it. And like cell phone footage wasn't like passable enough to do it, to like crop in. And so we were like, there wasn't even like GoPro mounts to like support it. We were just jury rigging everything to shoot vertically. It was crazy. I would get home and I wouldn't even have time. Like I was so tired. I kid you not. I was like, I can't even look at apartments. Like I don't even have time. I'm like trying to be like, I'm an adult, I'm independent, I don't need my parents. I almost went to my mom, like, Mom, I need you to find me an apartment. I cannot look. This is my budget, this is where I want to be. Whatever. And so I ended up spending, I was like, I DM people every night. I was like, I can apply for an apartment every night or like schedule an appointment and I'll go during my lunch break. And so I would basically go from the office, get lunch, and I would eat it while I was touring like studio apartments in Venice Beach. And then I viewed like 3 and I was like, I don't even have time to do this. And I was like, this is exhausting. I was like, I'm just gonna pick one. One was a 6-month lease. So I was like,
but you only had the job for how long? 2 months was a contract?
2 months. It was supposed to be 5 months. It got cut short to 2 months. Yeah. And then I had this 6-month lease for $1,600.
Right.
So I worked 2 months, basically made $8,000, signed up for whatever, 6 months. And I was like, oh, damn, like I need to start making some money real quick. But the day I stopped editing for Yes Theory, Rory hit me up and was like, do you want to shoot the closer? Or he didn't say, do you want to shoot the closer video? But he's like, hey, I need a drone operator for a music video. Do you want to help out?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, actually, I'm free tomorrow because I don't have to go to work. And then we shot it. And then when I heard it, I was like, dang, is this Drew singing? I was like, this is going to pop. Like, this is sick.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled it up just to have it, so because I knew we'd talk about it. And currently, as of right now, 2.4 billion views, bro.
Let's go.
And you did all the drone stuff for that.
All the drone stuff, and then I like helped like get the car to get like a little bit of like producing stuff of like we got the car together. I helped like a little bit with like coloring.
Yeah.
I think Taylor Cut ended up like coloring a lot of it.
Shout out to Jordan.
Yeah, shout out Jordan. And then yeah, mostly the drone stuff. What's super funny is I left early too. Like I had another drone thing that was paying me like $500 in Manhattan Beach.
Right.
And that's how I got my come up too. Like everyone was hiring me for drone because Rory like put me on the map as like, oh, he shoots drone footage.
Guy. Yeah.
Totally. And then Closer popped off and like he shot all the drone footage. So then people were like, if I need a drone guy, let's do it. And this one, like the Phantom 3's out. So there's like no good drones out.
Yep.
Or that's like the best drone on the market. And I knew how to fly like a savage. Like not even just like flying it, but like cinematically, I knew like I had read them. I never read any of the manuals. Like I knew every button, everything, why it would be like if something acted weird, I knew exactly what was happening and I could control it safe. And
That's the same way when I got out here. That was how I got the whole Chris thing anyways.
Really?
Because I started flying the drones and they were like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. Or we'd be on music video sets and they didn't even have it in the budget. And I just like, hey, I could get a shot of that bridge if we wanted to use that. And they're like, really? And then it's all of a sudden you have like placements in these music videos. I'm like, what the hell? Drones are the key.
Totally.
At the time.
Yeah. And
now
then
everyone's got them.
Rory's friend who runs Gusto 35, Javi, I think some other people run it as well, but he hit me up for like a G-Eazy like tour trailer, and he was like, you got to meet me in the desert at like 5 a.m. for sunrise, shoot like the Mustang. And then met him. I was so sketched out. I was like, yo, you need to Venmo me tonight, like the night before.
We're going to the desert.
Yeah, skip class, and then I got that, and then I ended up getting asked back to do another drone thing for them. But like LA, I knew Venice was like a big thing for me because opportunities, like all my opportunities were like the night before, like meeting Rory, meeting Dave Lingwood from Very Life, like this G-Eazy thing. It was like all the day before, and it was like you had to drive really far.
Right.
And I was like, if I was just in LA, these next day last minute like fire drills would be way easier, and then I could probably honestly like go meet with them the day before and like start creating relationships or like be a little bit more hands-on, or like, you know, after the shoot, it's like not a big deal that I have to give you all the footage now, because it's like, oh, I'll just come by your place and drop it off or whatever, and it's like a little bit more personal. You're seeing, putting in more FaceTime. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, she was like, why Venice? Like, it doesn't, like, my parents are so supportive, but they're just like, oh, just like have it make sense to me, like what's going through your head. And I was like, Snapchat's here, Facebook's here, creatives are here, there's a lot of executives, there's a lot of like new buzz in Venice, and all those people have to go to lunch eventually, and all these people are walking around the city. And I was like, I just feel like I'm going to be walking around and I'm going to like be able to like meet people without even trying.
So true.
I was like, I feel like I'm just going to be able to like go to breakfast and like bump into like a really important person at Snapchat.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, whatever. We had that conversation, I kid you not, 2 years later. What do you call it? I finished this original content with Yes Theory. They move on. I get my own Snapchat series. I do my own Snapchat
by
originals
yourself.
By myself. I'm like the lead talent. I'm filmer, editor.
But at this time, was your socials starting to bubble or what?
A little bit, not really. I was just making cool. They didn't care about your socials. They just wanted it to be entertaining. Right. So they were just like, that's sick. We don't care. You have a background or whatever. Like, people just want to see cool stuff. And I remember it got approved and episode 1 launched. My mom came to Venice and we got breakfast at like 9 a.m. And like the head CEO of the company that was doing all the original content for Snapchat that like flew Yes Theory out and all these things and like helped them launch, he comes in and he's like Liz Murdoch, who's like a very, very influential, powerful woman. Right. It's his like her right hand man. He comes in and comes up and goes, hey, you're Jeremiah Davis, right? And I was like, yeah, what up? He was like, your episode launched and like I just got done with the meeting at Snapchat and they said it's the highest performing thing on the platform right now. Damn. And like we're really excited about your series. Like we haven't seen anything like it. In front of my mom.
In front of your mom, you just look at your mom.
The first day, I'm like, let's go. And I'm like, Mom, we're at breakfast in Venice, and a Snapchat, like a very important person. I was like, let's go.
Damn, that's crazy.
It was probably one of the coolest like Venice moments.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Like, you were taking all this risk and like, you know, it just comes full circle.
Right. And your family like just cares so much that you know, you make it, and to have that moment in front of her, it's so sick.
Yeah,
so dope.
It was a dope story. I feel like I don't tell that story enough.
She probably tells that story all the time. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe she doesn't.
I feel like we both just blacked out and we're like, this is happening.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. But at the time, so you're saying you personally feel being in Venice makes it a little easier to access things versus being in LA. Have you ever lived in LA?
Yeah, it's I haven't. No,
you just always stayed in Venice.
Straight from college, I went home for a month, and then I moved straight to Venice. I haven't stayed anywhere else. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm also like home like half the year.
Right. True.
Too. So it's like part of. I think it depends on what field you're trying to go to in creative. Like, there's definitely a more like modeling, acting, commercial, celebrity focus in West Hollywood.
Totally.
And there's a more like indie, innovative, artsier kind of like scene in Venice that's like you're doing travel adventure videos,
branded more.
You're doing more brands, you're doing more lifestyle like stuff, and then And then like West Hollywood, it's like you might be doing some of that, but like you have like a really good noticeable model, or like a really good looking person, or like a really flashy car,
right?
Or like you're shooting it for a magazine versus like whatever, you know. It's more like traditional, of what you would like expect to see. Where Venice like creators and West Side creators are like, I'm going surfing and I'm like I'm traveling and I'm doing this. And they're like on the move more. You know, like Venice is just kind of like their pit stop. But it's also 15 minutes away from LAX. I pay like
You're so lucky,
bro. I pay like $12 and it's a 15-minute car ride to LAX, which is like you drive an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Definitely do.
And pay $80 for an Uber.
Sucks
or
ass.
like you just burn a friend and you're like, drive me to the airport.
I know,
please.
right? So
which is
true.
crazy. And like I grew up doing that, and I was just like, this is such a breeze, and I'm there all the time, and it's just like, it's so nice.
No, that's amazing. I was just thinking about how I have to like literally like fly back to Iowa real quick tomorrow, and then come back and then fly right back to New York, and I'm like, I don't want to do the next, like go back there again.
No,
that's the worst part. Yeah, you're right. Crazy. I think that's an interesting perspective of like Venice, because I love Venice. I have one of my homies moved down there, and he does a lot of commercial work and ad campaign stuff, and so he's always in that world. And we're always like, dude, you get so much more for your money the farther away you go from there, obviously. So it's like, as far as space, unless you're like living with squad or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, that was always the argument. And he's like, dude, it's just same thing. Every time I'm out, you meet people when you eat. Like, it's the same theory.
It's so cool. Like even West, I'm sure it's like you have a little bit of that at West Hollywood, but it's not. It's in. I feel like it's more expensive because you bump into people like at places or settings. Like at physical places. Where in Venice, it's actually the only place in my mind in LA where there's a walking culture. Like New York is a walking culture.
Yeah.
Like you walk everywhere. Like Venice, there's this huge section that it's like if you live there, you just walk to go for a walk, or you like walk your dog around, or you have like your coffee here, or you have your meetings here. And like when I was working at that office, I walked to work, I would walk to lunch, and then or I would skate, and it was just like you run into people on the street, or like at a coffee shop, or like where traditionally I feel like in West Hollywood it's like there's so many people that like you're not running into anyone at a coffee shop, you're running into them at like a Soho House or something like that.
Well, and it's almost like you anticipate that shit, so people go to that space to do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm here for this, but if I happen to bump into person, you know what I mean? It's like do you feel like, all right, cool, so if you're in that area, that happens with the Snapchat stuff. So when the Snapchat, if it's the highest performing video, what happens after that? What's the next turn for you?
We did you're saying like what happened with that?
Yeah, like he's saying, that's the highest performing video ever, and you had a series. What was the series?
It was called Without Limits. What's funny is their whole thing was like, it actually sucked. It was like you put out an episode and it disappeared after like 48 hours. Right. The original content stayed for like, and then it turned into like, it stayed for the week, and then they updated their Discover feed every week. But now it's searchable. Like you can just type in Without Limits and you can see all the episodes laid out and everything like that. On
Snapchat.
Yeah, on Snapchat. Also, this my conspiracy is that I'm not verified on Instagram because of this series. Because I've had like so many people push me through, like very powerful people, like Chainsmokers manager pushing me through and like, hey, can we get Jeremiah verified? And like, they're like, we can't at this time. And they're like, why not? Like, look at all this press around him
what
and
the
all
fuck?
this. And like Billboard and Sony Alpha did an article and like he did the music video and all this stuff. And it's just like, we can't at this time.
Meanwhile, literally a chick that only shows her ass and never see her face got verified. That's crazy.
But, I mean, I don't, whatever. It's like, I'm still going to talk about it. It's such a cool like time.
It's so cool.
Life. Yeah. And, basically we did 7 episodes, and like the first one was like me and Sam Kohler, we went to Fiji and we went, shark diving with like out cages, and there's like 8-foot bull sharks.
Psychopath.
So and it was like a travel adventure thing of like, I'm a photographer, I have to travel for clients, and then either I get to go back to those places to experience it for myself, or I get additional time off from my project to go out and explore.
Right.
And so that was like one I did with like with Olav, and it was like, we have to shoot this festival in Norway, but also Olav knows professional snowboarders, so we're gonna go snowboard. But like all the snow's melted, so we found the last patch of snow and we built our own ramp, and then like had a truck like tow this person in, and it's like sick. And we shoot these like, and then my job was to to take photos and videos of this professional snowboarder. It's like weird.
That's tight. So was it legitimate jobs that you had planned, or was Snapchat like, hey, what do you have coming up that you're actually traveling for, and can we turn those?
It
into
was
stories?
both. Some of it was like the Fiji one was manufactured. Like we didn't have anything going on, but I lived in Fiji for 5 months on a study abroad.
Right.
And I had done the shark dive, and I was like, this is the crazy. I would love to go back with like real cameras and like shoot it properly.
So then when that comes about, how did they structure that deal? Or was it just like, hey, we want to pay you to do something, we also were down to send you somewhere crazy?
Totally. Yeah. So what's funny is Dave Lingwood from Buried Life, and I ended up becoming really tight with him. I was like, can you come in and manage this deal? So he like represented me in a lot of meetings, which is it's just so full circle.
And that's so helpful for you.
So helpful. Yeah. Basically it was like you get paid a couple grand, like you get paid like $2,000, $3,000 for an episode, and then they cover all production costs. So it's like, sick. But like production costs was like me and a friend going to Fiji, staying in a hotel, and like renting jet skis for the week. It's like we probably spent like $7,000 or $8,000 on production alone, and then I get $3,000 kickback.
That's
on the end.
sick.
There's another story editor that like builds the structure of it, and then I would just come on whenever I wanted to like add a montage or whatever.
So they were cutting it for you,
which is cool. Yeah. But it was all my direction. Like if I didn't like, I was an executive producer on it. So like if I didn't like the video, or if I want to change anything, I had like full authority to.
I don't think people understand that this is like you getting an MTV deal 5 years before that. Like you having the ability to go on a Snapchat, which is one of the biggest social platforms ever, and have a full series. It
was popping then too. It was like
that was the time to have
totally.
I mean, you were like innovating that shit, and it's like to have that then. I don't think people understand what because I think it's crazy now where I'm like the other day I did this random ass thing where I was on ABC, and it was like this like some sort of segment where they just had like a couple creators get together or whatever, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. And it came out, and I don't think about it, and I'm just like, damn, if I was back in Iowa and this shit happened, I'd be like, yo, I'm on ABC, this is crazy. Like, they had me on the show. But now it's just so common, but there's so many streaming services and ways to obtain this content that it doesn't seem as big as it once was, but that's as big as you drama being on Robin Big or whatever.
What's crazy is I feel like distribution is being so overlooked right now. Like there's literally agencies that just do distribution. So basically it's like you're Nike and you spend $1 million on this campaign, you would then hire this agency to like distribute it. So then create like a strategy and a package that like cuts it vertically for people's stories, cuts it like for in feed, like 4x5, and then we're gonna cut it like extra wide for like the screens at the Grove that are like a super unique thing, and then we're gonna put it there because that's a prime demographic. There's a Nike store, and then we're gonna like push it to this like publication, do articles, and so they help out with like the amplification of it, because it's like, and nobody invests in that right now. Like we're spending an hour or two here. You're gonna go through your process and you're gonna push it, but it's like I don't know what your post production process is, but it's like what if like I don't know if you cut stuff up and you like send it to me and you're like, hey, can you push this or whatever? But it's like that's like a distribution package, you know, and it's like what, like even one step further of like, what if you had a PR person that's like pushing whenever you have a big guest that's like actually like noteworthy or something like that, and it's just like there's I don't know, there should be an article. It's just like Ben interviews Chainsmoker, like director, or like content, whatever it is, and then that's like, now there's an article about your podcast, and it's like there's an article, and it's like, oh yeah, if you're interested in this article, you can now listen to the podcast and just push more people to it. But everybody's overlooking that. You spend like 60 hours on a video with Nigel Houston, and it's tight right now, but next week, like it's dead.
So are you interested in that? Like, is that where you, like for this video with Nigel, is it like, what up, creators? I want to remind you about our community at jointhehomies.com. The homies are the squad of legends who support what we do here at Black with No Cream, so we can continue to build this platform into the best educational space for content creators on earth. And in return for that support, we give you a bunch of sick perks all month long, like access to our live stream tutorials and hangouts, bonus podcast episodes, and so much more. Check us out at jointhehomies.com. Let's go! Your job, or do you feel like it's your job to make sure it's getting distributed, or do you put that on Movement to like make sure that they're
so this, what's funny is this whole Movement contract, we've been working on it since like January, and we're doing 6 different videos that all have like 3 rounds of revisions, and like that means then they also have to be cut different ways for social and for, we're basically like exporting 20 videos for them.
I'm doing a bunch of shit like that with EA right now, and it's like you just
It's
yeah,
crazy.
I'll give you 1x1, a vertical, and 69, and this and this and
Yeah.
that. And you're just like, damn, why did I say I would do all that?
Yeah, no. I mean, just like the exporting alone is like a whole nother process.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, at its core, it's 5 different videos with 5 different creatives, and Nija was just one of them. He's probably the biggest collaboration that we're doing, but it's like a beast of a project, and they're hiring us on as like the creative agency behind it and the production agency. So like
Us being what you have a company right now. Is
yeah, so like that's another thing too, is like everybody some people know of Reese, who's I call him my manager. He's really like a lead producer, content like project manager.
Right.
But he's like full time with me, and he queues up projects. Like we have a call with Movement today, and it's like if I can't make it, he's on it, and he's
Right.
pushing it forward. He's writing notes, and then he briefs me in, and he's like, yo, you have to deliver this by tomorrow. I blocked off your schedule so you can edit tonight, and this,
Right.
this, and this, whatever. And he knows everything. He knows all my passwords. He knows everything.
Yeah.
If my
That's
social
amazing.
security is stolen, it's Reese.
It's Reese. Putting that on record right now, Reese.
But so we have a small team, and then what we were saying about like bringing other people in is like when you're traveling with artists, like it's the coolest thing in the world. It's great pay at first, and then you hit this wall of like, oh, I could get paid on other stuff
10 times more than
10
this
times
in a
more,
week.
but like there's still value and it's still fun, and it's like a
100%.
cool opportunity. And I think the biggest opportunity is like the network you're able to build. Mm-hmm. So I've been keeping these contacts, and I now, like when we have to shoot something in New York, it's like, boom, let's hit up this guy that I've met on tour with people or whatever through these other opportunities that might not pay me the most, but they give me this
Access.
network and these vendors.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of we're treating this campaign for Movement as like a traditional like process, like,
Right.
but hosted by me, Reese, and we've got like some interns, and we have like a business manager, and so there's like 5 of us full time that are on this, and then now we're also contracting Johnny FPV,
Right.
Zach Moxley down to film, who's
Right.
like an amazing cinematographer, and getting like big players on to like help shoot
So
this stuff.
sick.
Yeah,
Such a good
we're shooting a
process.
whole behind the scenes too on it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but I launched How We Made It series.
Yeah,
on
we were
YouTube.
watching them. They're great.
Sick. Yeah, so season 2's done.
Yeah.
we're launching that pretty soon, and then we have like a whole like official BTS of every video we've done for Movement. So like the Nija thing of like me talking with Nija and like actually
Figuring
telling
it
him what
out.
to do, like
Right.
a really sick perspective of all this stuff.
That shit's
And-
so helpful too, because when you watch
Yeah.
it, you're cutting the stuff, and I'm like, wait, all right, so is that old footage? Is this new footage? It's like, when do they do this? Like, this
Yeah.
is sick. Like, how, that answers so many questions for creators that are like, how?
Totally.
I posted when I told everyone you were coming on the thing in our community on the Facebook group, and like right away it was just like, that first shot, how? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
people don't understand what an FPV drone is yet. Like, we
Yeah.
just used one in a music video the other day, and people
Sick.
are just like, what is it? They don't understand.
Yeah.
But I think that's super valuable. Everyone needs to make sure they subscribe to that channel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, subscribe. So going back all right, so that's like kind of current right now. When you linked with Rory, I feel like things kind of escalated that way. Rory kind of put you onto, obviously, that
Yeah.
music video that brings on more drone jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
How did that relationship grow? Because you reached out to him originally, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, he's kind of crushing it. I think what was he working with Bieber? And
Actually, he had been working with Bieber. He had already been working with Bieber, and
Yeah.
like the first message, I was like, "Yo, what?" This is actually really funny. Is Bieber like I'll show you music video in Iceland comes
Yeah.
out, and I'm like, somebody told me that was directed by Chris Burkard, which was that photographer I told you about.
Oh,
I'm like,
right.
is he doing video now? Like, this is crazy. And he like came up and blew up off of like kind of innovating and like exposing Iceland online.
Right.
He's like one of the first really big
cool.
photographers to do it, right? And then I go and look at the director's credit, and it says shot by or directed by Rory Kramer, and I'm like, I know that name from Blau. When I was listening to Blau in college, it was like a smaller DJ, and Rory was making all these videos, and I was like, no way that this guy went from Blau to Bieber. And I was like, what? So then I was like, I have to message him and just be like, yo, congrats, whatever.
Right.
Classic, like, let me know if I can help, carry anything, whatever. Doesn't respond. And then I realized, like, okay, like, treat this like an agency thing. Like, how do I bring value and how do I get my foot in the door? And I was like, look, you don't have any drone footage in any of your videos. I fly drone. Like, I'll shoot for you whenever for free, whatever you want. Like, I'm in LA. Let me know. And he's like, can you shoot something this weekend? And
I love
that's
that.
how it happened.
Dude, that always happens. Like, that's how it all.
Yeah,
If
totally.
you just get that lucky little moment where
Yeah.
I actually do need that, because the hardest part is like you saying, I'll carry your bags and shit.
Yeah.
The day that he thinks about, I need to have someone carry my bags for some reason.
Yeah,
it's like he's not gonna find.
He didn't get there also by having someone carry his. Like,
right.
It's such a bad message.
Yeah. Well, we always talk about that on this too, because I think that's a huge issue. Is reaching out is like it's an art in itself. Like being able to.
Literally, my career is built off of like the art of reaching out.
Same.
100%.
Yeah.
Like there's so many probably better guys have better gear, kit, or access to things or connections, and it's just like I just built this from the ground up purely off of being able to like reach out properly.
Right.
There's such a good way, like there's such a right way and a wrong way to do it.
What would you say is the best way you could reach out to someone?
3 sentences max. And like skip all formalities.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm Ben. Who cares? Why are you leading with your name?
Yeah, I already see it.
Like that is half of your preview.
Right.
Awesome. Like this guy now knows your name and he moved on.
Right.
And he doesn't care.
Right.
Like you're out.
Yeah.
Gone. Never again.
Yeah. Right. I always kind of feel bad now because like reaching out to people to get podcast guests, if it's someone I don't know, I'm like, what if I have like 3 sentences, that's it. I'm like, I hate doing this, but I'm like, hey, what's up? I shoot stuff for Beyonce and Jay and like all these people, and I just like I hate doing that part, but I'm like, just please take me serious so you continue to read what I have to say next. You know what I mean?
And like it is what it is. Like you have to do it. And at the end of the day, you've also earned that right to say that stuff. Like it's not like you just did one-off project with them and you're you know what I'm saying? It is a flex, but that is the climate of
there's a reason why I'm doing the podcast and how I use that as like
totally
my
100%.
avenue. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
That's it.
And
so 3 sentences,
straight to it, and then bringing value. Obviously, I feel like I've had some other like really really bad examples or like the best practices. I don't know. People are funny these days.
It's hilarious.
Actual value and like I guess like also like being mysterious is now working. Like some guy, like if you have followers, like if you have like a good number, like literally just putting yo,
and you're like, what do you need?
like if you just sent me yo, I'd be like, what's good? Like what do you want to do? Like are you, and it's just like, does this guy want me to help him out with Beyonce? Like, I would check you out. I would then check you out. And then it'd be like, does this guy want me on the podcast? Like, does this guy need me to help him shoot? Does this guy want to shoot with me?
God, I love that.
Right?
I hope people listening to this start just hitting you with yo.
But I've had guys do it. But the first thing that they're going to do with the yo is like, who the hell is this guy? They're going to look at your numbers right away in that preview message before they even accept it. If you don't have the numbers for it, it doesn't work.
Right.
But what does work with low numbers is audio messages. Nobody's doing audio messages. Audio is a big platform. If I sent you a blind, and I'm saying this because I've 2 kids have done it to me, and I've opened both of them.
Because you're curious. Like, what could you possibly say to me in an audio?
It is the nature. It is the same. It's the original nature of the DM, right? Like some random human sent you a message. Why on earth would this person message me, right? That was DM, and you're like, yo, I've got 3 DMs. Like, gather around. Like, we have a hidden message, and who knows what we're going to see. It's like Russian roulette. It's like, what is it? It's so exciting. Right. So then you open it, and then whatever happens, what happens. And then that's what an audio message is right now on DM. And there's no preview. There's nothing they can just skim through. And even if it's like you have 1,000 followers, like and it's also very intimate, human. Like, if I cold called you on the phone, it's kind of like a little weird. Like, I haven't talked to this guy before. I'm about to hear his voice. We're going to have like a real time dialogue. I'm not going to have and everybody wants time to like think about what they're going to say and be composed. We're like audio, phone calls and stuff, it all kind of blends together of like a very intimate moment.
That's so true, dude.
So like you have 1,000 followers, you send me an audio message, I'm just like, all right, I'm listening to this. Like, let's go.
Yeah, what do you guys say?
And it's also gather around. This kid sent me an audio message, like let's hear what he has to say.
Let's roast his ass.
Yeah, totally, whatever. And the first one I got was this guy said, yo, I saw that Chainsmokers posted your video. I do strategy for like content creators, and I really think you're missing out on an opportunity because you're just reposting their same content versus posting something about yourself on the same day that they're posting your video. Because if they post your video, people are going to click onto you. And if you supply them something that's informative about you, then you can convert them to be like a fan of you versus just showing them the same video.
Great advice.
And I was like, that's genius for one. Two, this is audio, and he's like, hope you're having a great day. Like, let me know if you ever need like any more strategy with like, we would love to pick my brain or
You're
whatever.
like, yes, keep these audio messages
and I was just
coming.
like, this kid's a legend.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I got another one like 2 weeks ago, and this guy was just like, yo, just like a kind of like a typical like, you're an inspirational, like an inspiration, like your content goes hard. Like I check it out every day.
Right.
Like, yo, like keep up the work. Like looking forward to that new merch drop. Like keep
Just
it up.
fan shit.
But like it was like good energy. It was a vibe, and the guy sounded cool. And I was just like, and it's so easy to respond with. I'm like, I'm gonna respond with a voice message. I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. Boom. That guy's mind's blown now too.
He's like,
I responded.
you responded.
It took me half the time to respond. It's just like, it's. And there, at once upon a time before Instagram, there was also like those apps where you just like, it was like almost like it was just like a voice DM or like it was like a walkie-talkie and it saved in, you clicked in, it was audio messaging. But that like popped off for a second.
Right, because people are interested in it. People like you're talking to someone.
And it went away and whatever, but I like the more people get busy and they're driving in cars, like we're already talking to Siri and stuff. I send voice memos for like feedback on like when I have vendors do videos or something, I just do it by voice, or if there's like a big revision, or like I'll have Reese put together a pitch deck. I'm like, yo, we have this thing with DJI, they have a new product.
Right.
This is what I want to do. We're going to Croatia next week. Let's do like a 3-page document. And I send it to him, and then he just starts. And
building.
It's like, I don't have to type anything. It's so
saves
good.
so much time.
But that's the new way through DM.
I agree. I had someone else tell me that too. They said like sending selfie videos to reply to someone.
Who said that?
I can't remember who it was. Fuck.
Bobby's doing that.
Oh, it was him. It was him. It was when I was on his podcast.
I'm not convinced.
He's like, yeah, dude, I just fired up.
It works.
But I did have one. I remember there was one. So Black with No Cream is also like a Facebook group, like a private Facebook group, right?
Sick.
There's like 6,000 people in there, and I make it kind of hard to get in there.
I haven't been invited.
I'll send you an invite, bro. You on Facebook still?
No, not really. No.
All right, well, whatever. I'll invite you anyway. We'll see when you get it. But anyway, he told me that. But I remember there was one instance. I think we were at Coachella and we were getting ready for Beyonce to perform there.
Yeah.
And we were like driving. Dave, you remember this shit? There was like an incident. Someone talked shit about someone. I don't know. But the whole goal of the group is like positivity, and like we kind of wean out the weak by.
Yeah.
We don't need anyone in there talking shit. And someone said something. And I was like, I started typing shit, and we're like doing shit, and I was like, this is yo. Fucking blah blah blah, and I just started like spitting off whatever it was in real time and just posted it, and it just solved the problem of me having to type shit. I got everything off my chest and just like fulfilled that need quickly. But it's the same fucking thing, and I think audio is so aggressive, like in that mindset that it's almost weird to do it and know it's uncomfortable. But
I think video is like it's like one step further to intimacy. Like you have to look someone in their eyes then.
Yeah.
Like a selfie video, and like. Also on Instagram, you can see a preview of it, and it's just like, what if people don't like the way you look?
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's a real thing.
Right.
It sucks, but this is that's the world. And like, I've turned down video messages of people that are like this. I'm like, okay, is this guy talking at me? Like,
so weird.
I don't know. Like, I think you do audio, and if you have like some good responses through audio, then you could do a video message.
Step
but also, it's like, why risk it if you have a que thing going with the audio thing?
True.
If you're like have a new contact. People will click on the selfie video though.
When did touring start happening for you? Because I mean, you've been traveling all over the place. You've traveled literally like fucking everywhere on earth. I feel like.
Yeah.
At this point, you've been pretty much.
A lot of it was through touring, and then brand deals came, and just trying to go anywhere and everywhere I could. I started actually traveling in college. I did a ton of study abroads and like summer programs.
Oh, really?
But the first tour was Justin Caruso. I hit up Rory and I said, yo, can I shoot? Can you connect me with Blau? He has a show in LA and I want to shoot for him. Ironically, that was the last day Rory was in town before going on the Purpose tour. Yeah. So he ended up showing up. He connected me, shot it. It was at like Exchange or whatever. And I had never been there.
The club downtown?
Yeah. Yeah. And I show up and I got super sick. I was like, had a fever.
Oh shit.
Like snots pouring down my face. Like it was so bad. And then I made a video. I pulled an all-nighter, turned it in. I'm like dying at like 3 a.m. to like send this through. They send it, and then they get back to me and whatever. We do the video, and then I get a call like a week later, or an email from Justin Caruso's manager, and says, "Hey, like Justin Caruso's opening for Griffin at the Observatory. Can you come shoot it? We can give you $100 and like a couple tickets for whatever your friend." And I'm like,
hell of a deal.
I'm like, let's go, 2 tickets. Yeah. What?
And you were in Venice at the time?
No, I'm in college. I'm senior of college.
Right.
And then Justin doesn't actually have like an official slot time for Griffin. It's like they got approval to put up like a table while the changeover was happening from the actual opener to Griffin's set. It was crazy.
Damn.
It was so dark. It was like 10 minutes. It was like a 15-minute set in between. And there's like production guys like bringing out drum kits and like moving like a full band stuff out. Damn. And like they were just so bad. And I didn't even know what he looked like. Like the manager did a really good job of like hyping him up. Like he's got all these streams on Spotify. And I was like, who is this guy? I've never heard of him.
That's his Reese.
And yeah, totally. And I end up going and I shoot it. He never puts the video out. It was just like, it was awful. We joke about it now because we're boys. And then I end up shooting a festival for him, and it was Freedom Fest, which is like put on, like it was like the first year. It was like a USC like entertainment project actually that got like funded, or I don't know what it was. Right. It was the first year. I put out a video that was better than like the guys that planned it. The festival planners like, oh, your video was better than our festival video that you made for Justin Crusoe. And I like flew a drone illegally. Like they were like, we weren't allowed to have drones. You got drone footage. Our guys didn't. Like what? And so then tour invited, and then he ended up opening for Blau on like 40 dates across like over the summer, and it was every weekend. So then when I graduated, it poured into like summer of like.
Every weekend it was just shows.
Sorry, there was a gap. There was like a 4-month gap. Graduated, started working with Yes Theory, and then they're like, "Hey, we're doing this tour. Do you want to be a part of it?" I ended up finding out that my recommendation. I was like, "How did you guys even find me?" Like Justin Crusoe, like what? And they said we're good friends with Blau's team, and I said, "Hey, I need a really cheap videographer for this observatory thing." And they're like, yeah, this guy came out and shot for us, and he was like pretty cheap. He was half decent, super cocky, thought he was better than thought he was better than he was. This is my recommendation. Thought he was better than he was, and he got hammered at our show. He said I got hammered at his show.
Did you?
I was sick, and I took a sip of a drink that Blau poured for me and was like, yo, dude, I really appreciate you coming out and shooting like any friend of Rory.
You got like the flu, and they think you're just fucking shady.
I was so bad, and I was like, had like a Red Bull vodka or something with Blau, and I was like not gonna turn down a drink with the guy that brought me out.
Right,
and
of
like,
course.
It's my first conversation with him, and he said, he said I was drunk and I was like cocky and whatever, and I was like, man, I was just like had a fever.
Yeah, I just want to get the shit done.
Yeah,
and it was $100.
Yeah, totally, and they. So then he was like, so I was like, and then you hired me off of that? He's like, yo, but you crushed, like you made actually a cool video for Griffin considering that it was like the worst thing ever. And then the festival thing, they were like, okay, this kid actually has something.
Right.
And then the first show on the tour was in Arizona, and Purple Lamborghini just came out. Because he's an opener, we have like, openers like are fun because they don't have original music typically yet.
Right.
Like small guys.
Yeah.
So you just get to use like whatever banging track that's out there in the world.
Then now it's probably a little bit harder, right?
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And so I used Purple Lamborghini, which was like so hard that like, I think even like the pop culture scene kind of was like, is this tight? Like before we bump it really, really hard everywhere. And then like I dropped the video 2 days after Purple Lamborghini came out, and it was like
crazy.
Justin Crusoe raging in Arizona on his first tour opening for Blau, and it was just like, what is this song? Who is this DJ? Why does he go so hard?
Yeah.
And like whatever. And it like managers were emailing Crusoe's managers and being like, who's this video? It's so like well done and whatever. It's still one of my favorite videos that I've done. It was like it's just hilarious. Maybe it's just sentimental to me as well.
Right.
But it's not bad considering there's 200 people in the crowd and it's like a dark club.
Yeah, you made it look crazy.
Yeah, and it's like it's an opener, and so that I toured with them all summer long, and that enabled me to like turn in videos every week, make the same show look different, and tell a different story. And I took a similar like approach that I do now of like showing like the authentic behind the scenes of being in that city, then playing that show.
Right.
And which obviously is like a cliche now, but at the time it was like, oh, you're getting more than just the show. Yeah,
which I think is like the documentary aspect, or like the, you know what I mean?
Totally.
That's what every music video is like. We want to see the artist like being on set and doing something, but I think that's what makes people attach themselves to the worst, I think, is when you just see a show recap and it's sick, but it's like everyone's figured out how to shoot a show the illest way possible until Insta360 comes out with the camera, or GoPro comes out with the 360 camera. Now we have to figure out how to work that shit into it, or a drone comes out, we got to figure out how to work that shit into it. But everyone can shoot a show really well, but it's being able to find a way to authentically show whoever it is that we're following, right? Like
Totally.
in their element or whatever they're doing, because that's what fans like look forward to. On top, they all can see the show too. Like that's the only thing they can pay to do. They can't go pay to be on the bus or
100%
fly the jet or whatever the fuck. So that tour picks off, and then when's the next tour that you do?
That wouldn't seem like it was also just like forever. It was because it was spaced out over every weekend. We were on it for a minute.
Were you flying into cities then?
Yeah,
was it fly? You just fly everywhere?
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. After Crusoe, it kind of like laid low a little bit. And I think he did like a second round with Blau. So it was like maybe like 4 or 5 months off, and then we did another round.
Right.
But at that time, I think like Snapchat, like I was getting my own
starting to do all
Snapchat
that
thing.
stuff. Right.
Yeah. But it was cool. Basically, everything, me and Reese now, we say everything happened in 2017. Like, we don't know, like, we're like, oh, when was that project again? Because, like, people would ask me, like, oh, when did you do this? And I was like, I think it was, like, a year ago or maybe, like, 2 years ago. And then Reese is like, no, it's 2000. We always find out it's, like, 2017, 2017. But, like, if you look at I want to do a video, and I've tried making it twice, and I've just, like, stopped it. It's so hard to find, like, all this old footage. File organization is not my specialty.
I feel you.
And it was... like 2017, like I was just a yes man, where in 2018 I had like my girlfriend and Reese, like basically, who's also like my best friend, basically be like, you need to learn how to say no, not for the sake of like your career, but for the sake of your friends around you and your health as well. Like you just have to say no every now and then. Also, just like it's a smart business thing.
Fuck yeah.
But for the first year, I just like anything, I was on it. Like I was on it.
Yeah. We say that all day long. Say yes till you can say no. It's like you have to. Like otherwise, how is anyone ever going to find out what you're capable of doing?
Crazy. Yeah. So and opportunities were flying at me, and I was just I was so frustrated in high school because I wasn't that kid that came up with that crazy idea or had the opportunity to like prove myself. And now that I was getting those opportunities, I was just like ready to step up and like go to bat for it.
Right.
And now I'm working with the same people I did in 2017, and it's because I like crushed an early on project, and they might throw me 1 or 2 projects a year, but when that's 20 different people, you've got a pretty full year now.
Oh yeah.
So
that's sick.
That's kind of where it all started.
So when did the Chainsmokers, like if you did that video doing the drone stuff, that seemed pretty early on. When did your relationship with them start to develop?
I met them. I shot behind the scenes video for Rory's All We Know music video, and that's when I first met the guys. They did like a cameo in the video at a liquor store, and Rory was like, hey, this is the guy that shot the drone footage for you guys on the Closer video, and they're like, oh, sick, like you crushed it, thanks, man. That was it. They bounced. They did a Vegas show.
No respect for the drone guy, man.
And no respect. It was a dope intro. Like I appreciate the fact that Rory put that connection together though too. I was like, that's tight. He could have been like, oh, it's my friend Jeremiah, and then just But then I was like, oh, they know I've already done good work for them.
Right.
Did the behind the scenes. They saw the behind the scenes. Launched on their like Vivo, and then Rory like. Basically, I didn't do anything for them for a minute, and then Rory. I just always had a good vibe with Rory, and I always like pursued having like an actual friendship with him over like
work.
Plug me with all of your connects that you've worked so hard for. Because at the end of the day, like Rory's a fun person to hang out with, and I was like, I just need friends in LA that are trying to like go cliff jumping and do fun stuff.
Right.
So I sent Rory like a Groupon for skydiving on his birthday and like random stuff. Like I was like sending him stuff, even though like we hadn't hung out that much. And then Chainsmokers end up booking the LA Convention Center, biggest show as like their like hard ticket sale venue, biggest show ever. And then they go to do Lake Tahoe. What's that festival in the snow? Snow Globe.
Oh yeah, right.
They do Snow Globe. They come back for like 15 hours, and then it's like the New Year's Eve run of. They did like Colorado and then Arizona in one night. And Rory at the time had like a very, very, very big. I think his family they were doing like a family vacation. I think his dad, like at the time, had gotten diagnosed with cancer.
Oh yeah, right.
And then he had this like they were going on vacation and stuff. And Rory's like, I have to go. And like basically told the guys, like, I can't do this run with you.
Good for him, by the way.
Totally.
That's just hard to do.
So much respect.
Yeah.
Like, and that's such a cliche for, like, I feel like your audience is like, oh yeah, people who like are established or like have good opportunities say that's hard, but it's like,
as soon as you don't go do that, like, it could easily have been this where
Yeah.
he could have not gone, you come in, and then they never call him again, right? Like, you can lose jobs or lose relevancy as soon as you stop, which makes it like this mental challenge we deal with all the time.
It's terrifying, man. You work so hard for that relationship, and I made it very, and I thought through that, and I always told Rory, I was like, I will even give you a percentage of whatever you give me with Chainsmokers if you want to hook me up, but like, you always have like priority. And once I started, so basically he like was like, hey Jeremiah, I can do this for you guys. I trust him. He's worked with you. He loves your music. He's all for it. Like, we hung out. He gets the vibe. Like, and that's why I clicked with Drew and Alex, and I'm still working with them today.
Right.
It's like, I think I got to hang out with Rory, and me and him like clicked, and he was like, this makes sense. Like, you guys are all in the same like vein of people. And so then I helped Rory ends up flying in for the LA show and then flying out immediately. So I helped shoot the LA show, which was like a good like segue.
Yeah.
And then the next day I did Snow Globe, independent, first gig ever. We flew private.
Just you. You're just sitting on this jet.
We flew private up, and then we flew private back down. And funny story with that, I was on antibiotics because I had gotten wrecked in India.
Yeah.
And you can't drink with those. And my girlfriend's a nurse, and I was like, can I, like, Chainsmokers gonna be drinking, like the classic, like, Chainsmokers party every night. Like,
I gotta party with the boys. You know what I mean? Like, come on, I'm on a PJ. Like, I'm
like, can I like drink? And she's like, you can't. Like, you're on these things. You can't drink with antibiotics. Like, it can really mess you up.
Send it.
And she was like, and I was like, I have to be able to have, like, if they were like, let's have a cheers moment, like, I can't be like this new kid that's just like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, trust me, this always happens with these DJs, man. Like, ever since that first show, we always cheers at the end and just drink a little bit.
Yeah, and I end up like stop taking antibiotics so it's like not blending the two or whatever. She's like, that's safer than just talking through the two.
Responsible.
But they like didn't even end up like drinking or anything. We drove straight. We go straight back to LA. We play the show. We fly straight back to LA that night. We land at like 2 a.m.
Right.
Do that, take like the sleep that day, and then I go back over and meet up with them, and then we go do Colorado. It's Drew's birthday on New Year's.
Go up.
And so we like, we just go to a nice dinner, hang out with them there. It's just like quality time too, you know?
But this is great for you for bonding wise. Like,
totally. Yeah. It's like
private
real
jets,
time.
like, you're small, you're like around each other.
And they can see that I'm not like freaking out and being like, not flexing on my own like Instagram. And I'm I'm here to do a job. I'm here to not be in your way. I'm here to document it like enough to like, to show what you guys have done in this run, but not like overdo it and be annoying and have you do stuff that you guys don't want to do, or like set up shots.
Right.
So I was like fly on a wall, whatever. And I end up like turning around 2 videos for them in like 3 days.
After the
one of the link gets buried. Yeah. So I did the Snow Globe edit.
Yeah.
And then I did the New Year's like double back to back. Snow Globe edit gets buried. They didn't see it.
Like
apparently.
in emails?
Yeah. Like because it was on the same email chain. And I remember hitting them up like 2 weeks later, and I was like, "Hey, can I post this?" And they're like, "What are you talking? Like,
post what?
What are you talking?" Like, I was like, "Can I post a Snow Globe edit?" He's like, "Where's the Snow Globe edit?" And I was like, "I sent it to you before the New Year's one." The New Year's one ended up being like a big deal for them. They dropped Paris.
Oh, okay. So it's like Paris's birthday.
It was Paris's birthday basically, and they gave me the song early, and they're like, "Can you make this the thing?" And we're gonna drop it like the day before the song. So like my video was like the first piece of visual content. Like the tour video was the first piece of content.
That's dope.
Which was really sick. And so and I did a funny video for them. I put like a Cool Runnings audio like soundbite in it, which I was like, this is such a bold move.
Yeah.
Like, what if they don't know Cool Runnings? It's like,
what's gonna happen?
They're like, what is this?
Right.
Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe, like, or like something like that. And I was like, they're gonna either love it, and I'll be just
the man.
I'll be in.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's funny. It's a dope original video. Or they're gonna be like, this kid is so weird. Like, why on earth would you put this in there? And I was like, let's go for it. Like, it's already a Hail Mary anyways.
Right.
Like, they've got Rory on board. Like, they don't need me.
Yeah.
And that also Rory's advice always in video is just like, do what you want to make, like what you think is cool, whatever, regardless of the client. I was like, all right, that's a rule of thumb, and we're gonna like apply it here.
Yeah, smart.
Did well, and then I ended up going on like a European tour with them probably like a month and a half later.
Wow.
Yeah, which was like 14 shows in 14 days in 14 countries. It was crazy.
All flying?
Maybe 15 days because there's like a day to get over there. You're flying, and we're flying commercial in Europe. Ryanair, like it was absurd, bro. Like
that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, they're like, there's not even for me sake, but like for Drew and Alex, like there's no like premium economy. Like everything is just economy on Ryanair.
Right.
And it's like the worst in Southwest of Europe.
No sleeping.
It's crazy, and it's like a 2-hour flight,
right.
But it's like an hour to get to the airport, hour of security and waiting to board, and then 2-hour flight, and then
travel to the hotel or whatever.
Yeah, another hour or two on the back end. It's basically 4 hours of traveling to get plus the flight time.
And you're cutting videos on the road or on the planes and stuff like that?
No, they were like, Rory does a big like 5-minute video at the end of our tours, make a 5-minute video, and I was like, I've never done a 5-minute video. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, 100%. I made one for Justin. I did like a full tour. I was doing like 1-minute things for Justin, but I did like a 4-minute video for him.
Right.
But that was like over the course of like 3 months of shooting, and this one was like a week, and I was like, and then we're like, okay, Rory does it, you do it, and be as good as Rory. And I was like, okay, let's go to work. Like, let's do it.
So Rory didn't do that tour because of his family issue?
Actually, I don't know why. I forget why he couldn't do it. I think maybe he was either doing stuff with Bieber or I actually don't know why.
Like MTV
but I know I called Rory and I was like, they're asking me to do this job. Like, why aren't you on it? Can I do it?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice? Whatever. And he was like, go do it. I can't do it. Whatever.
That's dope. That's good that you guys had that.
For like 2 or 3 years, it was like that. Like so not 2 or 3 years, probably for the first year and a half, I would call Rory or I would just forward the email and be like, they're asking me to do this.
Yeah, what's up?
Are they going? Like, I just don't want them to like ever go under your toes or behind your back and like make this weird. Like this is your client, this is your gig. I'm just like filling in wherever they want me to, and they want me to.
Where do you feel like was there one moment that you feel like escalated your, I guess whatever you want to call it, likeness on the internet, or the ability to build a fan base for yourself? Was it just slowly by working with these different artists, they're sharing your content, like management starting to find you? Of course, fans of filmmaking are going to find you. Do you feel like Chainsmokers like escalated that a little bit? Totally, yeah, 100%. What I think is what was hard, and I saw all these like fans coming in. It was like, I don't want my whole fan base to be like, it's tough, Chainsmoker fans, which is so hard when you work with influential people. I have a friend that works with like a Viner, and he has 100,000 followers, and when he posts about anything the Viner, or anything else, it's like he gets he's getting like 1,200 likes, and then or like his engagement's just like the worst. And I'm like, okay, it's like, it's dope you have this platform, but this platform doesn't work, and you can't do brand deals now, and because it's not associated with this other guy. Right. And for me, it was like, okay, this is important that like people are seeing my face. Yeah. Wow. And so I started peppering in like one photo every three posts was like about me or of me. Yeah. Whether I liked it or not, I was like, I just have to do it. Right. And so you have to build yourself as a character behind that tag or whatever. Totally. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of it. And then also like I was doing like fun and cool stuff that people typically like to consume online. Right. And I was cliff jumping, and I was hanging out with other creators. I was making travel adventure edits on the side of this tour stuff. I was in Justin Caruso's tour videos. Like I put myself in his videos. That's dope. Just because it was just like, that was the vibe of us, like two college kids running around the United States, just like going to small clubs and stuff. And then, I think just like actually doing cool stuff, and like I also was mad authentic with everything. I was like open doors. And then I also did a video that's like, I graduated from college 6 months ago. Yeah, did you see that one? Yeah. That one. So like Rory stories came out. Nobody was doing stories, right? Because it was like intimidating. Right. And so the only people that are actually doing stories are people that are like Rory's, like the Rory's of the world, like the personalities. Yeah. That have like the balls to just be like, what's up? I'm doing this. Yeah, like do this in public. And everybody was watching them, but nobody was like doing it. And I was doing it, Rory, and like the other creators were doing it, and Rory just like ripped on me for this 6 months ago I graduated from college video. And
it actually did well before he blew it up. Like it got like 80,000 views.
Damn.
When I had like 7,000 followers.
Damn.
So like that's like, as far as Instagram goes, it's like mini viral.
Right.
And it's like, it was a video telling my story. It was like, I graduated from college 6 months ago, and since then I've done like, I moved out into a tiny studio apartment. I've been on like it was like a flex too. It was
Right. Yeah,
like,
I got to do jets and shit.
I've been on jets. I went to this amount of places and blah blah blah, and like, what is life like?
Yeah.
Whatever. That was actually a brand deal for feet socks.
The video was
Yeah.
so hard.
And the last line of it is like, now I get to live every day like it's the weekend, which is like a pretty cheesy line. That was their tagline they were going through. That's why I put it in. They were like, live like it's the weekend.
And they're like, yeah.
So I put it in. They don't tell me that that's no longer their tagline. They're not going live with it. I was supposed to launch that tagline for them.
Damn.
They didn't do it. They leave it in. And then everyone's like, that's kind of cheesy. And then I'm like, oh, it's a tagline. Then Feet Sucks like, no, it's not. We didn't go live with it.
Damn.
But it was funny. Like people loved it, but people also like that were like a little bit older were like, oh, it's cheesy.
Yeah. But still, it's
So
like,
Rory was like, he was just on his story. He would post like 30 stories and just be like, oh, it's that kid that graduated 6 months ago, or like, hey, and he would introduce me to people on his story, like, hey, did you know this kid graduated from college 6 months ago, and now he lives every day like it's the weekend? And then everyone's like looking at, like, it's awkward, right? And I'm just like blushing, and then they're like, cool, man, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. And then he'd be like, you know, this kid never filled out a job application, and now he lives every day like it's the weekend. I don't know why, but people like ate it up.
yeah, they love it.
And I was like, it was funny.
It's a bit.
It was funny for a day, and then I was like, and then he did it the second day, and I was like, what's going on? Then the third day, like, his following just started like coming across and being like, who is this kid? And I had like some videos underneath. I had like the Justin Crusoe videos. I had like some content to support it. So when people checked out my page, like, oh, he makes dope DJ videos. And Rory just blew it up for the second thing, to the point of like, I'll go to a Chainsmokers show and it'll be like
people
intermission between like a crossover or whatever, and I'll go up on stage to like check out like where something is, or like is there like a pyro thing here or whatever. And I have a video clip of me like filming the crowd before, like the silence of the crowd before they come on, and like somebody's like, 6 months ago I graduated from college, and like it's like a funny, like if you're like an OG That One Blonde Kid fan, you came up with me, like, you know this tagline, you know this video.
God.
It's like also my YouTube like land. Like if you go to my YouTube for the very first thing, that's the first video you're gonna see, and then like if you're a subscriber, you see other stuff. But I
love that shit.
But that, like, overall though, that is like such a good, and that came out before everyone was like, last January I went to South America for the first time and I brought my camera and this is what I captured. Right. Like that is so cheesy now. Yeah. But that was 3 years ago. It was like, oh, you brought your camera to South America and you documented it, and now you're about to show me, like, let's go.
Yeah,
you were hyped. And so that was me, like, I graduated from college and I did this and this, and I haven't filled out a job out. And also that's like the college dream, not like the American dream. That's like the college dream of like, how the hell do I not go to a 9-to-5? Like, I'm graduating in a year. How do I escape this? And that is my following. It's like, it's kids that are either graduating high school and are like, is college for me? Or it's kids that are in college crapping themselves about what they're going to do afterwards. And they're like, you didn't fill out a job application. You got to do all this crazy stuff, and you made it happen. Like,
and you live every day like it's the weekend.
I live every day.
And I love the weekend. Saturdays were my birthday was on a Sunday.
You're a weekend warrior because you work a 9-to-5. So am I, but I do it 7 days a week.
That's funny.
But that was a really like a hyper strong, like, you know my story now. Yeah, right. You know who I am, whatever. And then I did some other stuff. And that was like, that sold the Snapchat show as well. Like that was the thing of like, I'm this kid that travels the world. I graduated from college. I didn't fill out a job application. Now this is what I get to do.
Yeah. Brands are like, we love it.
We love it. It's a great thing. And what was I gonna say?
So you did another video or something?
So like, you know, when Chainsmokers stuff rolls around and they go and like kind of like dive into me, they come across this video and it's like, oh damn, like, this kid's sick. Yeah. And then I also just took every podcast. I was doing every interview possible. Thrillist did a big article on me and told like my full story, which is like a very big like online platform. Yeah. And they did like a very, very big, like, how did you go from going from college and being like a nobody to going on tour with Chainsmokers?
Right.
And it was like finessing the DM thing. And it was like that story where like people now were accepting direct message. And then Thrillist just did like, I did like an hour-long phone interview with them.
Damn.
And they did like a really long piece.
Yeah, that's dope. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because I feel like what you guys have invented between, I'd say like your peer group on who you make content with, it's like you guys set a bar for like this travel culture, right?
Yeah.
Of being able to turn that into a job or being able to go somewhere because someone wants you to come and create content for whatever it is, Fiji resort, some shit or whatever. I don't know all this stuff, but you created a culture of it. Like,
so, but also community as well. Like every kid wants to do these trips, but they also wanna do it with friends. And so when they see us all hanging out and like tagging each other, and it's about to happen again. We have like the most savage trip of all time planned in like a week that I just got a call about, being like, okay, we officially can fit you on this trip. When will that content roll out? It's like Sam Colder, Jacob, Gustavo, like
everybody.
Homie Jack, like Brendan Hayward, like the full squad plus like other professional guys that are, and we're doing like the craziest skydiving trip of all time.
Oh, that's dope.
And it's like, it's literally like old school travel adventure going to like the extreme virality.
Right.
And typically like now nobody hangs out anymore because everyone's like doing their brand deals and everyone's around, like, but so nobody gets back together. And that's what I think people love.
Right.
It's like everyone loves the travel adventure thing, but we've seen it. But it's like when you see people together hanging out and you get to see the stories of like people eating and like pranking each other, and then we put out like a actual piece of content that's like in real time. Yeah. You're just like, yo, what do I have to do to be there?
Right.
You know?
No shit.
And so I think that's what we were really good at, was like it was just like a snowball effect. Like, oh, like Rory's hanging out, he's going cliff jumping, Jeremiah's going, Matt Coma's gonna come through. And then there's like all these amazing creators and talented people that all have their specialties, but we all like would just get together and go like just charge.
Right.
And it compounded like a ton. Yeah.
When you started jumping out of airplanes?
Every
time you post that shit, I'm like, savage. This is crazy. I would never.
Bro, skydiving to me was something I want. At 16, I got like in a fight with my parents because they wouldn't sign a waiver letting me to skydive early.
You're like, I'm a photographer. I need to go.
So I can't. I wasn't even shooting at the time. I wanted to go since I was 12.
Right.
I was like, when can I go skydiving? My parents were like, well, when you're 18, but like we don't want you to do it. And then when I was 16, I was like, I found a place that'll let me go as a 16-year-old, but your parents have to sign off. And they're like, we're not doing it. They got me indoor skydiving, and I was like, probably the brattiest moment of my life. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this isn't real skydiving. And then when I was 18, on my 18th birthday, went tandem, realized that it was like cool, but I was like, this is like, I really, really want to do this. I'm going to put this on hold, get some money, have some time to do it. I was like way deep in baseball. I didn't have time for it.
Right.
And then when I started like making some money and stuff, like 2 years ago, I was like, okay, I could not only pay for this stuff, but I could also make my money back through my content, and nobody's doing it. Right. Like nobody's doing it well. Like I think Jay Alvarez was putting out some cool stuff, but even that, there wasn't like solid edits yet around like travel, skydive stuff. And so me, Rory, and Sam Colder all put it on the calendar 3 months in advance to do it. I was like, block your calendars, no brand deals. Like, let's just go train for a week and get certified. And Sam,
that's how long it takes, is a week?
Like about 7 days if like weather and everything's good.
Okay.
Sam bailed the month before. He was like, I have too big of a deal, I can't turn away. And then Rory bailed the day before because he was moving, and he was like, I just need to get settled in my new spot, whatever. Right. Whatever. So I end up going, my girlfriend goes with me. It was like my birthday weekend. She gets certified, I get certified. And then I didn't post about it for a year because I was like, I want to come out so heavy.
Just make the illest version of it.
And like everybody posts about them skydiving, and it's like them learning. And they're like, I'm standing by the plane, or like at this. And just like every like niche culture, like a skate culture or like a surfing culture, there's like the do's and don'ts. Right. And there's like a lot of don'ts. There's very few do's, and the do's are like really hard to do. Like you have to have skill to do the do's. Right. And the don'ts are like all the newbie stuff that everybody does, and skydiving has that as well. Okay. And so like all the newbies are like with a student rig on, or like a rental rig, or they have like a loser helmet on, and it's like totally. But
when you do it, like the photo of you, it looks sick.
Yeah. So the first thing I ever came out with was for the Snapchat show. It was the coolest thing ever. I did it with Morgan Oliver, and we both went in a hot air balloon.
Okay.
With
Legend.
two wingsuiters and jumped out of it, holding on to the back. We had our own rigs on, but we're just holding on for dear life on the back of wingsuiters. And wingsuiters, like,
they
fly, we fall. And so we get to like ride on the backs of these wingsuiters that feels like a dragon, and out of a hot air balloon. And we had like a drone out, like filming it. We had like 4 different cameras inside. We had like 5 GoPros on all of us. We had an extra skydiver falling with us to like capture it like, in like 180 frames. And like, it was insane. And like, I posted it. I was like, oh, by the way, like I've learned how to skydive this over the last year.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just like, I don't even think people like comprehended it. It actually didn't do well online.
Really?
It didn't do well like on my socials.
Yeah.
Like it did all right. Like people were like, this is insane. But like nobody, like I don't think people like process like, oh, that's Jeremiah. Like on like people thought, I still talk to people today like, oh, you were strapped to it, like you were like tandem, like you tandem skydived out of a hot air balloon. Like, oh, I guess that's kind of cool because you like instead of a plane it was a hot air. I'm like, no.
I rode him like Khaleesi,
I'm
bro.
like holding on for dear life, and like you can over rotate because in a hot air balloon you don't have wind blowing against you, so it's dead air.
Right.
You can just like float around, and body positioning is everything.
Okay.
So if you flip over, you're not saving that. Like you have to let go.
You or the wingsuit person?
Like both, like we're both able, we're safe and fine,
Okay.
but like I can't get on his back.
Right,
ever again.
right.
Like, we're done.
Yeah,
we're
yeah, it's over with.
separated. Speed picks up 100 miles an hour, and now you're just like you can't do it.
Right.
He takes off one way, I'm falling.
Yeah.
So you have to exit perfectly, and he was like, well, you're gonna want to flip over me, and you need to stay in a ball and like stay as close as you can. And I remember just going over the edge. Also, you're just crapping yourself.
Right.
Like, skydiving's one thing. Hot air balloon, it's like dead quiet because you're traveling with the wind.
Holy shit.
And then you can just hear, like me and you could be talking as loud as we are now up in the sky and hear each other. Where traditionally in a skydiving plane, and you're like, are you ready? It's like screaming. Where this is just like, hey man, you good? Like, yeah. And then you're like, this is really peaceful. Like the sun's coming up, and you're like, you can feel yourself like you can hear yourself breathing. And like
Damn,
when you
that's
jumped
amazing.
off, when we jumped off like the really, really high end professional wingsuiter, he goes like, oh fuck. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Also, it's half the altitude as a normal skydive. So
Right.
like, altitude is time. Time
Right.
is your friend.
Right.
It saves you.
Right.
Where this is half the distance, so you fall super fast. It's all quicker, right? And if you don't pull in time, like you have an issue, you don't have time to fix it, and then you're screwed. So I was already like, it was my lowest jump. It's dead airspace. You have this like gut dropping feeling. In a plane, you don't have the gut drop because you're going 100 miles an hour. You jump out into the wind, 100 miles an hour. There's no speed change.
Right.
Where hot air balloon, you're going 0 to terminal velocity. You're going like 120 miles an hour.
Dude, this is the most ridiculous.
Right. And so like people aren't processing this. Like I drop it and I'm like, this is gonna change everything.
Yeah.
And like people are like, oh, you went tandem. I'm like, cool.
You're like, nah, I
And I'm
rode
like,
that dude.
I'm riding it, and we crushed it first try. And like those guys were like, you don't understand like how hard. Like I can't believe me and Morgan both stuck it.
Wow.
And it was like, and then we were floating side by side, and we're just like waving to each other, like literally riding these dragons.
How long can you like ride them for?
Like 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
Did they give you like a cue to dip out?
They would like shake or whatever,
Right.
and then we do like backflips off, and then go back into a free fall way faster. They fall 3 times slower than we do.
Yeah.
And then we flip off, and then they take off, and then you pull your parachutes. And then when I went over, I was like, I just want this. I just want one image. I was like, I want one image of me like one-handed holding, like just doing like a solid rock on, and I like go over the edge, and I just like throw it up, and then I feel myself flipping over. So then I put my hand back down, and I almost like scorpion, like my back of my feet are like, and I'm just like holding on for dear life.
Oh my God.
And then we just like stick. The wingsuit pilot was like, he's a legend, and he saved it. Like I my weight was all off balance, and you saw him like correct
he did
it.
his thing.
Yeah, he's like saved it, and then we just had like the most crazy time.
Dude.
I've yet to do a wing. It's called a rodeo.
Okay.
A wingsuit rodeo, and I have never seen anybody do it out of a hot air balloon, yet alone 2 people doing it.
Challenge accepted.
It's tricky. That's like a lot of weight. You also think like we all jump off of one side. It's like 1,000 pounds in a hot air balloon basket.
Right. So it's gonna.
So when that leaves, it's now off weighted by everybody standing.
Did you have planned like to do that multiple times in case you messed up?
No, it was one taker.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, how? It's,
And we got Snapchat to pay for it. We got paid to do it.
oh, that's fucking awesome.
It was dope.
Damn, that's tight.
It was amazing.
I feel.
I got to get you that photo. You got to flash.
Yeah,
up the photo.
no, I want to put like all this content on top of this.
Good.
It's like
Hell yeah.
so sick to like.
Sick.
I think that I don't know. I couldn't do it, bro. Roller coasters be scaring me. You know what I mean? That feeling of that what you're talking about right there, dropping off a balloon when it's just pit. That sounds so crazy.
We got to get you up there.
I don't know. Okay, so I want to wrap this up because I know you got things to do out here.
Let's do it.
I have like a Patreon thing that I do like a Q&A, so they ask you
Sick.
questions. So I'll do that. But as we wrap this up, what's the
That's
plan?
awesome, by the way. Does that do well for you, or is it like
It's helping pay for this.
It's the route.
So that's been
It's
cool.
amazing.
It's
Great.
been amazing to
Good
have
for you.
the support.
That's inspiring. I need to get on that.
Yeah, I feel like your audience. If you got questions, ask me, man. I've been trying to figure it out for a while, so it's been fun. But
Sick.
this is their chance to like ask you questions, and they might not get to ask you, or you might not see
Let's
the
do
DMs
it.
or whatever. But before I do,
Ben's monetizing off of Jeremiah Davis.
sorry guys,
Let's go.
you know what I mean? They're already in there. I don't think anyone came because of
Let's
it.
go.
But,
Yeah.
did you? I wish I would have done that. Do you like? What is your plan moving forward as you build? Now you have your company, and your group and your squad together. Like, what is your mission now? And as you push forward, as content's changing, as internet's changing.
I think the most valuable thing for me has been being crazy, like the most flexible person. Like, I paid off student loans right away. I didn't have I don't have a car payment. Like, I own my car.
Right.
Like, I'm just like there's no obligation to anything. Like, tomorrow, if you're like I need you to come shoot this thing in Hong Kong with Beyonce, like, I'd be down.
Right.
Where like maybe you have a couple other friends that can't do it because of X, Y, and Z. So, or be like, yo, let's go live in Hong Kong and we're gonna make $1 million. If you have student debt, you're not really allowed to like leave the country. Like, there's weird stuff with debt. So it's like, I had no responsibility, and I think moving forward, it's like, I think that's really important to stay flexible. So like, not having a plan is also probably like the most strategic plan. I think you still need to have like things you're working towards that will happen if the climate doesn't change. So for me, that thing is like a more traditional agency, but I don't have like a 5-year plan. I don't have like if it happens, it happens, and I'm moving towards that. We're structuring projects to be like that, and we're getting good at it. We're getting my clients like familiar with that process. It's not just me anymore. It's like, here's Reese, he does this. Don't email me about this, whatever. Like, they're getting used to it. And over the course of the next 3-4 years, 5 years, me having like my own office with more employees, doing more traditional, bigger campaigns that are known as a traditional ad agency is going to happen. But say podcasts become the next biggest thing next year, and I want to do a podcast and they're popping, and that's what makes sense in the current day and age, I'm going to go do a podcast.
Right.
You know, and it's like, so like staying flexible. So I don't necessarily have like a crazy 5-year plan.
Right.
I don't think it's like mad important to.
But you're shifting to the culture, and it seems that you've been doing that since a young age.
Totally, yeah. And pop culture will always need content, and that's what I'm good at.
Right.
And so wherever I go or whatever I do, it's going to be based around content. But the more traditional ad space does intrigue me, but it's going to be like a new evolution of it, because ad agencies basically are changing every 5 years.
Yeah.
Traditional ad agencies became boutique content houses. Now there's influencers that are people like me that are undercutting the agency I used to work at.
Right.
So it's like, it's evolving. Like, if I made the same thing I worked at right now, I don't think it would be successful.
Interesting.
But I don't know what the new version of that is. So I'm working towards it. I just...
it's always changing. And the last thing I want to talk on is your is it annual, the trip that you do to Bali, where you like bring some people there?
We do. So we do as many as possible. We did 3 last year. Did we do 3?
What is it? You take your...
It's a workshop with Jacob and myself. I'm going to do workshops with a lot of people and a lot of different creators. We want to involve more creators, and the groups are getting bigger and it's becoming cheaper, and we're getting more brands involved to like gift other people things.
That's cool.
So like last one, everybody got like douchebag suitcases mailed to them and camera bags before they even left their house.
Wow.
To like be able to bring it on the trip.
Yeah.
And then they were able to shoot content around the brand, and then we introduced them to the brand, said, here, they have product in hand, they like to shoot, we train them this week, go do it. But basically it's an educational intensive workshop where we didn't ever market it as this, but it's every time we do one, we're like, this is literally a college semester cram-packed into 7 days.
Right.
So it's a 7-day intensive workshop where you pay a flat fee and you pay your own flight out. And then from the time you land, you're picked up with a guy with the sign with your name, and everything else is covered from there. We wake up every sunrise, we shoot every sunset. We do sessions during the day where Jacob, who's basically was the first creative director for Beautiful Destinations, which is like the biggest travel brand online right now. He left that and then started this with me. And so he does the photography side, I do the video side, and then we both also teach lessons on pitching clients and how to get your foot in the door, how to bill, how to structure, how to write contracts, how to not get screwed, and how to how to DM people. And we basically live with these people. Like, it's not like hey, you're gonna stay at this hotel, me and Jacob are gonna stay over here. It's like we're gonna live in the same Bali. We live in the biggest villa in Bali. There's 22, it could sleep 22 people. People have their own like hot tubs in their bathroom. There's 3 pools. There's a tennis court.
Damn.
And it's like we host everything, and then we live together. We eat every meal together. We sit over the same table, and it's just like pick our brains about everything in between. There's structured sessions where we go over things and like classes. But it's like and what we're trying to do is build that community we were talking about of like, what the magical thing is the community. It's not like the content we're making. Like, the content is obviously like the byproduct of it. But what's really cool is the fact that there's 7 people, 10 people, all with cameras that want to go shoot a crazy waterfall or go do something crazy. And then we came up with amazing content too at the end of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to bring together is like, let's bring 15 people together, live for a week. We're going to like bust our butts, shoot everything we can possibly can, and then and learn during the process.
So sick.
And like we break down all walls. Like YouTube, I could do a tutorial on like how to get your foot in the door, how to write a contract, or how to like, where's your price point? Let's do a YouTube video. But that's like really intimate. It's also exposing your clients a lot. Not even I'm okay. It does expose you, but I'm also like, it's more of the client thing.
Sure. Where
you're able to do it on like a one-to-one basis, and it's like, this is what I charge for the chains. Like, you want to know what I want to charge for the Chainsmokers, so you can base that off of your music client. Like, come to Bali, or we're doing one in Iceland. And at the end of November, we did one in Yosemite and San Francisco.
Oh, dope. So you guys are doing those more often?
Totally. And we just partnered with 𝐼𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐿, which is the biggest like millennial travel brand right now. They've been open for 60 years.
Whoa.
And they have all like the data and analytics on like the most poppin' places, and they're able to basically like cover a lot of costs. So like, we dropped our prices $1,000 from last year's because we're able to partner with them.
Right. That's dope.
Totally. So it's like, we're hoping to do a lot more of them.
Is there a name for this? Is there like a separate like website?
If you, it's 𝐽acob𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐿𝐿.com.
Makes sense.
And it's, there's like all the information that you could possibly need. 𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐿, actually the Iceland one's on 𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐿.com. So if you just go to 𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐿.com and type in Iceland Jacob or Iceland Workshop, we're like one of 2 Iceland trips with them.
That's so cool.
But it's like, in my mind, it's the coolest thing. There's other workshops out there, and I've watched them, I've studied them, I've talked to the people that run them.
Right.
And it's like, they're like, yeah, like I do it, but like I always stay at a different, like you're going to want to stay at a different spot because people are going to talk your ears off. Or like,
right.
And we're like, yeah, but like that's the coolest part. Like, we did 1 hour one-on-one sessions in our Bali one because we have time for it.
Yeah.
And we don't have to travel a ton. And it's like, we literally sit down one-on-one across the table in like a private setting, and we're like,
what's up?
What's up? Some guys are like, I want you to show me how to use my camera. Like, great. One guy's like, I'm making $100,000 already. I've been doing this for 1 year. I went to school as like an engineer. I got my master's degree in engineer. I don't want to do that. I'm making $100,000 without even trying in the first year. How do I progress? And I'm just like, yo, let's talk money. Like, let's go. Like, like that's a very intimate thing to talk about. But like in that one-on-one session, you're able to like really dive in deep.
Super dope.
In my mind, it's like it's more than anything I learned ever at college. And anybody I know did.
So congrats for starting that. That's sick.
It's exciting, man.
No, it's super dope. All right, cool. Before we get to Q&A, I just want to thank you for doing all this shit. This is dope.
I love it. Dude, I'll talk your ear off.
I know. I like that. I'm fucking happy with this shit. This is dope. So let's see. I'll pull up a couple questions. Taylor Grote said he makes a type of video. Sometimes I don't read these before, so
yeah. Like, sorry.
Yeah, so sorry if I just fucking bomb names or don't ask the question right. But he makes a type of video that is super dope and also the most common type of look that young creators are trying to emulate. How did he separate himself from the pack in the ways that brands wanted to work with you rather than the cheapest guy that can rip off your style?
Yeah. stop making those videos. And he's not stopping because that's where the money's at. But if they listen to the full podcast, like, I stopped making money at an agency to make what I really wanted to make, and then it became something like people like that style.
Right.
But you got to get rid of the money kind of first. My Movement deal, that's like a massive campaign right now.
Yeah.
The reason why I work with Movement is because I did a 10K collab video where when I hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, I had everybody submit footage to me.
Right.
And then I basically made it into an edit. And they loved it so much. They're like, can you do that for Movement watches? And then now we do it every year for their anniversary sale.
Wow.
And they pay me to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But like the original concept at its core doesn't make sense. Like people thought it was dumb. Like all my friends thought it was like, why would you spend time going through random people's footage that you didn't shoot? You can't like it doesn't make sense. And then I spent hours doing this, going through everybody's footage and selecting the best stuff, made a video and said, thank you for following me.
Yeah.
And then now brands are like, we want to say thank you to our customers. Can we pay you to do it?
So cool.
So like that's a different structure and it's flipped on its head and it's like, and it's hard to do. Like, I don't feel like I've done something like that in a very long time because it's hard to do, but like you got to go do something that's not going to get you paid first to really, I think, come up with something original.
No, I love that.
But on the other side, you got to pay bills. And if you like, you know, if you're getting paid to do the adventure stuff and the typical cliche thing, go do it, but then double time it and make something different on the side of it.
Right.
If you can. If you're burnt out, get rid of the money thing.
Love that. Dominique GT says, what's the creative process to do a concert video? Since he tours with artists, same show, different venue, how does he think about creating something new?
That's the hardest question of all time.
It is challenging. I mean, when we were doing B's tour, we're doing stadiums. It's her and Jay, but it's like stadiums over and over and over.
I'm curious
again.
on your answer on this, actually.
Well, I was always like, all right, the beginning, you're just trying to get the best content of them. Totally. And then eventually I'm like, there's a magnitude. So I'm always telling people, no matter what size show, like, don't just stay in the pit. You know what I mean? Like, go everywhere. Like, be everywhere. But once you shoot a wide shot from the back of fucking the Bears Stadium, it's hard to make shit look different. You know what I mean? It's like, so you always are challenging I would always try to at least come up with one new thing I could try to make, something new that I hadn't done before, but interested to hear your perspective. Yeah, no, I think like a camera technique wise, like always do something new. Like get a 360 camera involved. Like how does that work with concert videography, or like go to the back, or like how do you do a hyperlapse of this stadium, or like maybe you bring someone on to the stadium and be like, yo, I'm going to shoot the show. You're going to just do a hyperlapse. Right. The whole show around the whole effing stadium. Yeah. And it's going to be a 3-second show, whatever. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is like, it's a little bit like harder. It's obviously way harder for you, but like getting to know the artist. If you're working with a small artist or whatever, it's like bring like social human value to the crew and the club. Like if like everyone's like walking around the town, like be funny, not pull a prank, but like just like add to the vibe and like be seen that you're not just like a guy that holds a camera, but you're like a part of the crew. Right. Because that's going to transfer into your content, and like they're now going to like want you to be in more intimate settings and to like have a camera in their face and like get those storytelling elements. So it's like think outside of the show, like go film a conversation. Like if they're on the phone outside smoking a cigarette before they go onto the stage, it's like, who's that person that you're talking to right before you go on stage? Right. Is it your girlfriend? Is it an argument? Is it like your manager? Did something go wrong? Like, is it your mom? Right. And then like that cool soundbite of being like, hey, I gotta go. Like I'm going on stage right now. Right. Like, so that's sick. Your intro clip. Right, it's like I'm going on stage and like this guy on the phone. So I guess just more like BTS content outside, like what we talked about, outside of the concert. Yeah, I always say like trying to work myself in as like making my camera a character is like so needed, and it helps you out immensely, but it also allows you to have like a new eye in the crew. Let's see. Trey Visual says, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten and how has it affected you? I have like 2 more. Wow, best piece of advice. How has it affected me? Oh my gosh, I don't know. What's your best piece of advice? My best piece? I'm whispering because we have headphones on that are really cool and we can hear our voices. I know, it does sound, it's HD sound. HD. I was literally about to say it's HD. Sometimes Dave and I will come over here and have conversations where we just do this to talk to each other. You guys whisper to each other or no? Dave, so I think what we should do next week is... no, I think my best piece of advice I got from some random book. I wish I knew what it was called, and I read it and it was just about this interesting story, but my favorite thing was that the guy... his main goal was to always give without any expectation of anything in return. You said that earlier, so I love it. And I completely agree. Like everything I've ever done is just offering myself as much as possible to however I can help elevate those around me is like my biggest move that's helped me grow as a creator. Yeah. 100%.
I think like I don't know if I made it this it's been a tagline and like a thing I live by. But redefining what busy means to you, like the definition of busy. Like, are you busy today? Like actually?
Right. Yes.
Like personally, are you busy?
Busy as fuck.
Okay, great. So like your definition of busy, like if you were to lay it out on a piece of paper, and then if I went to the Chainsmokers and be like, are you busy today? And they're like, yeah, I'm busy as fuck.
Right.
What's like list it out. I mean, and like I guarantee you they have like twice as much.
For
right?
sure.
We're both human.
Right.
But they're executing twice as much as you. So it's like, what if today wasn't busy as fuck, but today was just like, today's like a hustle, but it's just another, like it's the usual. I could do more.
Right.
Like, what if you put in another dinner in there tonight with like someone specific, like someone that you need to network with, or like you just want to catch up with because you guys only catch up when you're doing a deal and you don't want it to seem like that. Like, go put in that time or go do. But like I realized, like, everyone says that they're busy, but like what that actually looks like is so different. And I just was like, yo, this is like, I thought I was busy out of doing the Snapchat thing and everything. And I was like, no, like Chainsmokers can fly to 3 states and play 3 shows in a day and then also do like radio interviews and then make a new song on the airplane.
Yeah.
You're like, I can make a video while I'm on the airplane going to 3 states. And then I could also do like an article where I respond to questions on a computer. And then I can also like manage Reese and tell him to like line X, Y, and Z up while I'm making a video, while I'm shooting content, while I'm doing whatever. And it's like, I can double time this.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody watching right now has a definition of what busy is, but it looks a lot different than what it does for me and you and people that are even way more actually busy.
Agree. I always see like Beyonce related content in my Explore page, obviously. And there was one thing that was like, we all have the same 24 hours as her.
Totally.
Like, damn, it's true.
Exactly, yeah. They obviously have team and infrastructure.
Teams are like, yeah.
100%. But if even at its core as like an individual, you could do something. Like everybody could do more.
Right, 100%. All right, let's see. You can answer these ones quick. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I lost it. Old Relder. He said, I think I like the favor. He goes, was spec work ever part of your process for brands, or was it mostly networking?
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever shot anything on spec. I think it's smart to, for sure. I think I feel like I have, because I stand by it so much.
To.
I feel like I've done content out of, it doesn't feel like spec work. Like spec work sounds boring. Like, oh, I'm going to go shoot this for free in hopes that I'm going to make a paycheck and I'm like banking on it.
Yeah.
Where I feel like I've made content with a GoPro, or I've made content with something else, and it's like,
a fair double dip.
And then I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Why don't I just go hit up this company and be like, do you guys want to use this? I shot it already for free.
For example, the Stance Socks thing at the beginning, you're showing the shoe thing that you shot before. That's technically like creating spec content. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just using it in a different way.
100%.
All right. Last question was, he also asked was how did you get your contract? How'd you get your concert contracts from credit card sponsors and other big sponsors? Oh, okay. So he's basically asking, what's a piece of advice you would give to someone that's trying to create a deal with a company?
I did an American Express deal.
You just did that?
No, I didn't. It was like,
it
was like 8 months ago.
How'd it go?
How did you do it? How did it go?
No, I guess like
was he asking like how do you do it?
He said, what's the best way to reach out to potential sponsors like that? And who's the person in those companies that's approving and granting budgets?
It's not in the company. It's agencies. Yeah. So like agencies, like American Express is the biggest bank company in the world. So they have agencies that have like, here's $20 million for 2020 or 2019. And you're going to just do campaigns for us. And then in that quarter, it's like, okay, we're going to do a foodie campaign around like our dining credit card. And so they hire the agency to go find then like foodie influencers. And then from there, it gets like scattered out.
Right.
So it's less of like finding the key contact. If you have a key contact with the company, there are those people, but it's like one in a massive 2,000 person company, where an agency is like, maybe there's 1,000 people at the agency, maybe there's 500, maybe it's 9, like what I worked at.
Right.
And then you email the right person in the 9 or the 100, and then it's like, yo, this is what I do. I see and just paying attention to the climate. Like, is American Express right now promoting like food dining cards? What is the last card that it come out? Does it make sense to what you do, or are you forcing it? Like, if they put out something where it's like, you get 10% back on any gas purchase. You're like, I'm doing a road trip across America. What if I bought all my gas with your credit card, and then I made content around how like I'm using this credit card everywhere I go, and I'm winning all with my gas across. That makes sense. And then that's what you pitch them. Right. Stuff like that. So go to agencies.
Was your deal just a one-time thing with them? Do you know Casey McPerry?
Yeah.
He was on here, so he talked about building like year-long relationships with them.
I feel like I've asked the same question that this person did to Casey. I was like, yo, how did... Yeah. I hit him up because when I was doing my deal, I knew he had worked with American Express, and I was like, yo, are they making you put like all this, like in your caption, I had to put like terms may apply, like you have to be 18 or old or whatever, all this, like, but it was like... You're like, dude, I don't... It was so long, and I'm like, is this required? Like, this is insane, and it was, and I just talked to Casey, and I was like, how did this all come about? But I kid you not, I got an email. It was one of my biggest contracts last year, but it was from this American Express thing, and they were like, can you do it? We need you to not only create, it was 3 events, all concert focused. You had to shoot a recap from the event, right? And then you had to shoot a small, like a different variation of it, highlighting 3 different influencers. So like, if you were one of them, I had to make you your own original video. Right. So I just had to get like a couple shots of you, plug it in the same video I had, and I would swap my shots out for you. Yeah. And I did that for 3 other people. So for me included, that's 4 different versions of each event. And they hit me up and they're like, can you do this? And it was an agency, and it was honestly a nightmare, but
yeah, it sounds like so many deliverables.
I it was so many deliverables, and I think the whole event series flopped, and the agency was like treading water and trying to like salvage it on my back of like, this needs to be better, or this needs to be turned in early because we're trying to like woo this client. I'm like, yo, our contract doesn't have me turn this thing in for another 5 days, and they're like, doesn't matter, we need you to do this now. And they're like, it was sad. The homeboy had my phone number, was like calling me late at night. Like, it was dark.
It gets brutal, huh?
I got paid a lot of money though for it. It was great.
It makes up for it. That's all you have to think about, is like, there's an end of this road.
It was scarring though. It was actually scarring. It was pretty scarring.
But also one thing is like, that's what networking is, like going to meetings and stuff like that. You're gonna be able to, you could run it. Go to a Samsung event. I guarantee you, there's a rep there. That's someone that you might want to bump into or whatever.
There is a funny story. You should go read it on Reese's blog. But Reese told a funny story about that American Express thing where I outsourced one of the events to a friend who went to Puerto Rico with the hard drive with all the footage. He shot it, and he was supposed to send a copy to me, and then he was supposed to edit it himself and do everything, but I just needed a copy for insurance. Goes to Puerto Rico with the only copy, and then says he can't turn it in time, and like, meanwhile American Express wants it early, and held the footage hostage. Reese goes to Puerto Rico,
flew to Puerto Rico
with 1 hour's notice, with socks and his computer, like no change of underwear, like no, like an extra pair of socks. It was the most savage thing. But Reese has like I haven't even read the blog, but people have told me, like, I've read Reese's blog about this thing.
Damn.
I think it's called like Rogue Freelancer or something like that.
Yeah, I want to look that up. Yeah, Reese is a goat. Damn.
He is a goat. Yeah.
Savage. All right, wrapping this up. Before I leave, or you leave, I let you pick a hashtag, right? So I tell everyone to go to your Instagram. They're gonna tag me.
Told me about this.
He did?
Yeah,
did you already prepare one?
No, I didn't. I just thought of it again.
Okay, so everyone listening, if we made it this far, we talked for a minute, 2 hours. This is a good podcast. If you made it this far, go to whatever your most recent Instagram post is. You're gonna tag me at Ben Reverse World, and then you're gonna put this hashtag so we both know that they listened to the entire thing.
Holy!
You can come up with whatever you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
They tag it in their last post.
Like, they'll just go to your feed, whatever they see at the time that they're here. They might hear this a year from now.
Yeah.
They'll just put this hashtag that you put, and we'll both see it.
Let's go TOBK.
TOBK.
That one blonde kid.
Okay.
For those that aren't tracking.
Right.
X Ben.
Fair enough.
Or do you want some black with no cream?
No, it can be what I mean. Some people say some fucked up shit for that part. You know what I mean? Some stuff is dumb as hell.
I could have got you. Like, hashtag.
Okay, wait. So it's
TOBK.
Yep. X Ben.
Yeah.
We'll stick with it. I love it. All right, cool. Do that so we know, because you're a real one for listening to this whole thing. And that's it. Appreciate you coming and doing this, bro.
I always feel bad after podcasts. I'm like, damn, we talked for 2 hours.
I am more than happy to like.
Go.
I
don't want to talk for 2 hours though. I enjoyed it, but I'm like,
yeah, I know.
I always do this.
I always feel like my first one was like 3 hours long, and it was just because I was like over prepared. And then we're like, we gotta keep them like an hour and a half, and I'm like, but if they're really good, I'm gonna let it keep going. But you killed this shit. Your story is nuts. So, all right, appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. That's it for episode 134. Huge thank you to Jeremiah for coming on the show. Listen, each week I'm interviewing some of the most talented creators in the world. And if you have ever wanted to ask them a question directly, now is your chance. By becoming a member of our Patreon community, you can be a part of the Q&A experience with each of our guests. Not only do our Patreon members get to have their name and question read on the podcast, but they also get to access all the other amazing perks we have to offer, like bonus podcast episodes, exclusive live streams, detailed behind the scenes breakdowns, and so much more. You can check all of those perks out at jointhehomies.com. Appreciate you all for listening to this episode. But before you start listening to another Black with No Cream podcast episode, stop what you're doing right now, hop on iTunes on your computer or your phone, and leave us a review. Every review helps this podcast grow and reach more creators out there, which helps us continue to create this content for you guys every single day. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at Black with No Cream, and make sure to send this podcast to someone that you think will benefit from hearing it. We love you. See you in a few days, you bitch.